戦争は変わった。一つの時代が終わり、俺たちの戦争は終わった。
War has changed. It's no longer about nations, ideologies, or ethnicity. It's an endless series of proxy battles fought by mercenaries and machines. War and its consumption of life has become a well-oiled machine. War has changed. Verified soldiers carry algorithmic arms, manipulate social influence, AI enhance and regulate their timelines. Memetic control, information control, emotion control, battlefield control. Everything is monitored and kept under control. War has changed. The age of deterrence has become the age of control, all in the name of averting catastrophe from weapons of mass destruction. And he who controls the battlefield controls history. War has changed. And when the battlefield is under total control, war becomes routine.
Think outside the cage.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. See, there's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Crime News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Crime News Talk. It's not a podcast, it's a lifestyle. It is July 5th, 2026 on episode 955, and today, Soft Power Small Nuke signing on from Off the Grid Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy Basil, and you are not crazy.
And my name is Gonz, at Face Like the Sun, director of the Age of Deceit films and author of Prophecy Without Panic, Recovering the Patterns Behind Bible Prophecy, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, live to tape from the metaverse to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. Oh, you know what? I'm not used to doing all these different buttons. Here we go. Now people can see us. Hey, everybody. Hello.
A little clumsy on the lifestyle thing, in the pitch, a little clumsy. We are currently trying something out. We are broadcasting in a vertical format. I think on my X account, is that what we're doing? It's on my X.
I'm doing it on mine too. I mean, might as well. X updated their stuff, and
a little weird, a little funky, but we're figuring it out. But hey, look, I'm gonna keep workshopping it. Okay, the intro, I'll make the points. We're not a podcast. Stop calling us a podcast. Okay, we're your fringe Christian lifestyle brand. If Palantir can be a lifestyle brand, we can be a lifestyle brand.
Our faces are so, but your googly eyes are so close to my head on the vertical. It's
on the vertical. Yeah,
I
know it's a little funky. Yeah. If you're on X, sorry if this is a weird format. We're gonna figure it out.
Yeah. Hey, but today, guess what today is? It's the 6th of July. Happy 4th.
It's the 6th or the 5th?
It's the 6th. Why did we put 5th on everything?
I called it the 5th, and the date on all of our stuff says the 5th.
Oh, you know what? I probably updated on the documents yesterday. Yeah, time travel messes you up, so it's okay. Yeah. It is Cocaine Shark Week, but not only that, it is, what year is it, 2026? It is the 4-year anniversary since the demolition of the Georgia Guidestones.
Ah, yes.
It's been 4 years since they tore it down. That seems kind of crazy, actually.
That's very interesting you say that, because I was thinking about this recently, not sort of attached to anything. Oh, I see it. You stuck with cutting off our scroll on the bottom there. I see. Okay,
yeah, I did. You didn't say anything, so I just went with it. It was just.
I like the scroll back, but we'll deal with it later.
Scroll over the chat makes me dizzy, so I just decided. I'm thinking of you, chat. I'm thinking about you guys.
It came to my mind the other day, thinking about the Georgia Guidestones, and I'm sure we figured this out at the time, but for those who don't know, the Georgia Guidestones are in Georgia, the United States, and the Guidestones are like this Stonehenge kind of structure that was built. And on the guidestones, there's a bunch of like Freemasony, Golden Agey, beast system-y, kind of occult stuff, right? Like we want to keep human population down. We want to do this. Here's how you build the world after the apocalypse. Like just a bunch of weird stuff. And it's been a focus of attention in sort of fringy online culture for a while, truther culture rather. But then strangely, what'd you say? It was 4 years ago?
4 years, yeah.
4 years ago, like in the depth of COVID, what allegedly happened, and there was some security camera footage of this, but it wasn't very good. But what allegedly happened is somebody blew up the guidestones with like a car bomb. Like they drove a car and exploded a car and damaged the guidestones, but didn't like destroy them. Like it just kind of did some damage. And then whoever's in charge came in and deconstructed and took away all of the guidestones. Like it's kind of suspicious. Thinking about it now, it's kind of like, oh, the guidestones are getting too much attention. These conspiracy theorists, are getting, it's right in the midst of COVID too. Remember this is like a lot of people were waking up for the first time because of COVID. And so it's almost like the guidestones were getting too much heat in that moment. And so they needed an excuse to like come take it down so people don't pay attention to it. And so they're like, oh, this weird terrorist came in with a car bomb and blew it up. And so we took it apart because it's unsafe or something like that. Just really weird.
Well, the esoteric explanations that I heard at the time were like, hey, we're at that point now. We don't need the guidestones. They took their notes, it's about to take place. So, they got to take down all the evidence. But also,
with my soul, real quick, sorry. With my soul, 670 says the damaged guidestones were cleared the same day. Like they're ready. They just swoop in, take it away.
Yeah. Well, we know based on the research of our good friend Dr. Future, he made a whole documentary along with Chris Pinto, Dark Clouds Over Elberton. Go look up that documentary. It's pretty clear that some Rosicrucian back in the day funded the whole thing and put up these guidestones. Yeah. And so they, I don't know. It seems like Dr. Future blew the lid off of the whole thing, but he doesn't get any credit for any of that stuff because
we'll give him credit.
Too much truth. I know we're the only show that gives them credit, but people talk about, because I still hear people talking about nobody, like Alex Jones, nobody knows who puts up the guidestones and all this stuff, and it's like, we kind of do, but we do. Nevertheless.
Well, Dr. Future's our guy. He's our very special guy. Of course, for those who are familiar, for those who are brand ambassadors of the Canary Cry lore, they know this.
Of the lifestyle,
Dr. Future, retiring his podcast Future Quake back in 2012, was actually the reason we started podcasting at all. So,
yep, that's true.
Important to us.
And the one big line that everybody talked about with the Georgia Guidestones was bringing the world population down to 500 million in harmony with nature or something like that. So that was it was a depopulation agenda that people discussed the most when it comes to this. And I think it's been vandalized a lot over the years, but that car bombing or bomb thing or whatever was sort of the beginning of the end of the whole thing. And by the 12th of July, there were reports that the whole thing had been, cleared. So
it's interesting. Okay, so Mike Cornell in the YouTube chat says, when they broke the guidestones, it could have been part of a ritual, as in they had a small part of the stone years ago and broke it and gave pieces to different people. I don't know, he says, IDK. But he brings up a good point, because, like the Berlin Wall, right? When the Berlin Wall was sort of ceremonially destroyed, you can go and like certain museums, certain people, certain collections, they'll have a big chunk of the Berlin Wall that was sort of distributed in the economy of like magical objects around the world, right? This interesting. This fits into the theme of the show today. But I could see, I wonder. I'm looking
it up on eBay right now. Is there
if we
PSA graded chunks of the guidestone somewhere,
Yeah,
That'd be
is
hilarious.
where are the chunks? Do certain people have the chunks? Are there certain rich people who like, maybe have a big chunk in their collection or a museum or something like
Trump probably has.
definitely there's some like Masonic lodges around the country
Oh, I'm
that like
sure.
received pieces, right? And they kind of like have an altar
Have-
to it maybe or
yeah, like a
something.
glass case lit up and
For
stuff.
sure. If anybody out there has any lead on like where the pieces of the Georgia, that would be an insane, like deep undercover investigative journalist thing to do. You'd have to like call the dump truck company who
Yeah,
like,
do some interviews. That's a
do
great
some
documentary, by
interviews.
the way. I think someone should jump on that. That's a
See if
great
you can
documentary.
track down the pieces of the Georgia Guidestones. I bet it would be a
We
very
find emails of Trump. I want the biggest one. I want the shiny piece.
Oh, for sure Trump has a piece of this. Trump being like not only the sort of, tycoon billionaire in terms of fiat currency, but also the tycoon billionaire in the economy of magical objects. Again, this will come up
Yes.
a little later in the show. Before we get started, Guns, just kind of on theme. I received an email. Now, for those who don't know, I send out just a
Oh, wait.
little. Oh, yeah.
Gary, what day is it? Monday?
Just
It
a
is
reminder.
Monday.
It is Monday.
It is
Yeah, it's Monday.
Good to know. Yes. Now, if you go to canarycry.party, you'll see a little area where you can sign up for the newsletter. And the newsletter I send out twice a week before each show with some fun stuff. It'll have some art in there. It'll have a little stuff from me. And it's a reminder that we're going live. Just helps you, find the show. So recommend you go sign up for it. Canarycry.party. I got a reply from somebody to today's newsletter. And this is, their name is Miguel. So shout out to Miguel.
What's up, Miguel?
It's Miguel. What's up, Miguel? Now, Miguel replied and says, I haven't heard your show in a while. I do have a question for you. Are you guys still Trumpist? So, Miguel, I didn't quite have time to respond to Miguel by email. I do not know if Miguel is tuning in today. My hope is that he got the email, he saw it, he's like, oh, these guys are still going. Let me tune in today. I hope Miguel's here. But if you're not here, Miguel, I hope you listen later. But yeah, Miguel obviously doesn't watch the show. He says, I haven't heard your show in a while. I do have a question. Are you guys still Trumpist? And I think Miguel represents a cohort of listeners, or rather former listeners, that were a little bit maybe misunderstood a little bit about our position on Trump and everything.
A little bit. Yeah, maybe a little
And
bit.
look, we get it. We're used to it. And especially if it's been a while, like let's time travel in our heads to like 2023 or 24, right? The world was a little different. The Trump thing was a little different. This was sort of the beginning of, I don't know, some troubles for Trump with his base and whatever, right? So I think that every big thing that happens in the world that we have to analyze from like taking a step back and analyzing from a 30,000 view thing, there was a lot of people who thought that we were like politically pro-Trump and I don't know, just that kind of thing, just like your basic political fan of Trump.
I can understand because what happened, especially back in the early 2021, 22, to
in the midst of the
tell
Biden,
the truth. Yeah, right. In the midst of Biden, but also to deconstruct mainstream reporting was to, by default, make it look like you're supporting Trump because you were just tearing down some of the nonsense the mainstream was saying. So people might have misunderstood, you're kind of deconstructing mainstream to, we support Trump, which is not necessarily the case. But that is, I can understand people not seeing the.
There's a great example here, and I don't want to get too bogged down in this.
Yeah, of course.
But Caleb in the chat, this is a great example of the difficulty of what we try to do here. Caleb says, Basil literally encouraged people to vote for Trump before the election. And he then says, I know where the clips are at. And so,
Okay.
Caleb, I encourage you to go find those clips and send them to me, please. Please do. I'm very serious about this. If you have the clips that communicate to you that I was, campaigning for Trump or something, please send them to me. And I'm not saying I didn't encourage people to vote for Trump, because again, think about it. It was the election where it was Biden or Trump, or it was then Kamala or Trump. And the thing is, like, you don't have to be a huge fan of Trump. You don't have to be a MAGA head to look at those options and see that one is better than the other.
Careful. You're starting to sound like a little Trumpian there, Mr. Googly Eyes.
Yeah, Caleb says you were already tagged in them on X months ago, Basil. Thank you, Caleb. Tag me again, please. If you can find them, please tag me again. I'm not going to go through months of my tags on X to find the clips. I'm asking you as a friend, Caleb, please tag me again. Bring these to my attention. So in the world where we are given a choice between Kamala Harris and Trump, sure, I concede. I probably encouraged people to vote for Trump versus Kamala. Otherwise, people who really understand what's going on here, I mean, voting is theater. Voting doesn't matter. I mean, come
voting
on.
doesn't really
Voting
matter.
isn't
It doesn't
real.
make a difference.
Look,
yeah.
In the end, voting isn't real. So just give me a break, okay? All right. And Monica, thank you, Monica.
Spicy top of the show here. We're
Monica
really
coming to my rescue saying, even if Basil encouraged people to vote Trump, it's not him being a Trumper. Thank you, Monica. Monica gets it.
Monica
All right.
sees
So
the
anyway,
noise.
back to Miguel. I haven't heard your show in a while. I do have a question. Are you guys still Trumpist? Now, this was a very short, to the point email, which is why it was impossible for me to respond before the show, because I don't know what Miguel means by Trumpist. I don't know. But these are the types of difficulties that we have trying to make it through this world and communicate and think and process out loud with you, which is what we're doing here, versus other shows, other podcasts. Dare I say, we're not a podcast. We're a lifestyle brand, baby. But, you should not be coming here because we're here to tell you what you agree with. We are being vulnerable and doing a very dangerous thing, which is to figure out how we feel about the world live here with you. And your job, dear listener, is to be here with us and process with us and figure what's going out with us. It's it's the great conversation, okay? We're not here as an agent of any ideology. We are here as ambassadors for Jesus Christ on the very simple gospel that he came, he lived a perfect life, he was crucified for our sins, and he rose again. And anything outside of that, you are processing with us. So we invite you, if you don't want to do that, if you're not listening to a podcast because you want to process the world with us and figure it out, if you're here because you want us to tell you unequivocally the truth, or at least just tell you what you already agree with, that's not what we're here for. And this, my friends, is why we, like Paul's thorn in his side, right? Our thorn in our side, to remind us to be humble and that we are simply servants of God, is our precarious viewership and download numbers. That is our thorn in our side, to remind us that we are simply here to do what God wants us to do.
I think I also think for most people that tune into podcasts and live streams and stuff, you probably have not been on the other side of the mic or the camera or whatever. You haven't been on the side of speaking to the general public and getting your words out there, and just, there is a very serious and honest temptation to go with the crowd, to go with whatever's big, to go with the big new thing.
Mhm.
And we have
chase the
said
numbers.
multiple times, yeah,
Chase
it
the
gets the numbers.
chase the algo.
And of course, we've been on our topics for a long time, and sometimes the topics come to us where we sort of land the territory that we've been harvesting for a long time, and then the mainstream, or the eye of Sauron, if you will focus where we are, and then we're kind of cast aside while they make new influencers that are more popular or whatever. But
If
the
we were to
temptation,
chase the algo, we would not be so far ahead of everything.
yeah,
If you chase the algo, you are by necessity behind the real stuff going on. You are behind. You are chasing it.
right. Well,
And
that
that's a
and
good way to get your numbers up, a good way to sell advertisements. But the dangerous thing, the real punk rock thing, is to not chase the numbers, which often harms you, maybe even literally and financially. But that's how, we repeatedly come to the conclusion that things happen around the world. They become common knowledge, mainstream interest, the things that we were talking about 10, 15 years ago.
And I know for the Face Like the Sun account in 2016, there were many opportunities for me to take off my little prayer hat here and put on the MAGA hat and just go with it. And we probably would have blown up. If we got our channel taken away like we did in 2021, it would have been a much bigger deal. It probably would have been, more of a story, whatever.
We could be like in that group of podcasters that like Trump comes to defend and like invites to
Bezzling guns. Yeah, like something. Yeah, we don't. I mean,
especially during our hockey stick trajectory in the middle of 2021 when
we were ascending. We were
got banned.
we were on our way to apotheosis, and then we just said, no, we don't.
We got to move. We got to move on. We got to jump into the news. But just to once again, Miguel, I hope you're back. I hope this clarifies. I love you. I'm not trying to pick on you, but this is great representation of something we're dealing with for many years now. But to land the plane and make the point about who we are here and what we're all about, the ongoing chat conversation, Caleb comes in and says, your votes do not decide the president. It's a consent ritual, which I agree with. And then Monica says, to each their own, Caleb. That's not my view, and I vote in all elections. Leaders are put into place under God's sovereignty and will, good or evil, which I also 100% agree with, Monica. And that's the beauty of what we got going
Romans
on.
13. You got to balance out the Romans 13 with the rest of it. So, yes, this is a good biblical debate that is not settled. It hasn't been settled in centuries. I don't think.
And that's the beauty of it.
But good job, fellas.
For the beauty of it. We're participating in the centuries-long conversation of believers trying to figure out what's going on here.
Yep.
And with that, speaking of Trump and our attempts to have subtle opinions and deep analysis as to what's going on with Trump, who Trump is, what Trump does. We're simply calling balls and strikes here. And if you disagree with the call, that's okay. Stick around, be part of the conversation. Let's talk about Trump. Very interesting thing I found here on the topic of sports ball, Gons.
We will launch a new age.
They love killing.
I am innocent. They're coming after me.
I'm watching a sports. Sports the good.
Ooh, did the ball go?
The ball goed.
All good, Gons. I'm very excited. We get to talk about sports, not something I'm very familiar with, but of course, sports, one of the better ways that you can observe and analyze the larger invisible workings of power around the world. And of course, here, America's 250th birthday. We just got done with the high holy day of July 4th, which was absolutely jam-packed with the most obscene, magnificent, elaborate, expensive, gaudy, sort of esoterically heavy set
Is
of rituals.
is that some of the stuff you were
around
sharing
What's that?
on your X? Is some of those AI videos you were sharing on X? Was that part of your?
Incredible. It's incredible. I am absolutely floored by what I am seeing going on, in America. And what we're seeing is soft power. Okay,
Yeah.
Trump, he's flexing soft power on behalf of America in the world in a way that we really haven't seen, right? Especially during like a Biden presidency. And yes, to be real, there's a part of me when I see the AI videos of George Washington riding a bald eagle and bombing the British ships, or if I see, the video of the guys with all the guns shooting as if they are playing the percussion to a wonderful patriotic song. I love it. But over the weekend, 4th of July, of course, the most magnificent displays of just almost vulgar patriotism. We, of course, oh my gosh, load up Monica's Mount Rushmore thing.
Oh yeah, okay.
Producer Monica, God bless her, here in the chat, thank you, went to the fireworks display at Mount Rushmore. Again, I just, like, I don't know what any other world, just the vulgarity. And I don't even mean that in a necessarily a bad way. I'm just saying the essential oil of American soft power being on display across the country on 4th of July. Thank you, Monica. We got the shot here of the fireworks over Mount Rushmore. Of course, Trump always jokes about putting himself on Mount Rushmore, so there's some depth to that conversation. She's holding up the Godfather design for Canary Cry News Talk in front of the fireworks. Beautiful brand ambassadoring. Thank you, Monica.
Yeah, this is great. Perfect shot. This is almost perfectly staged, like the Trump assassination attempt. Very well done. The angles are proper. I mean, very well established.
It's just the semiotics, the symbolism at work in our lives today is just
I love that.
Hard to miss.
I love that we're kind of blurry too, which perfectly fits the entire thing,
Yeah,
It's like
it's perfect.
everything else is in focus. We're blurry. We're just kind of kicking.
So not to get too lost in the sauce here, but like the first show we are doing after this outrageous weekend of like the culmination, like a peak experience of patriotism coming after the World Cup stuff where all the foreigners come to America and they're just minds are blown. They're like, air conditioning, what the heck's going on with air conditioning? I can't believe our European government is keeping us from air conditioning. The actual politics of Europe are being assaulted when it comes to air conditioning in Europe, and they're actually considering seriously like conforming their politics around air conditioning to America because of this World Cup. We're seeing, of course, all the foreigners come and just lose their minds about American food, even just the concept of drive-thrus, even just walking into Walmart, all the America stuff that has been so, I would say, probably rightly criticized, and America has been sort of lambasted for over the many years under different ideological reigns around the globalist, propaganda campaign. All those same things are now being turned around, and the message is, oh no, actually America rules, even in the sort of vulgarity of everybody owning guns and Walmart.
But did you notice it's all like what they're falling in love with is some of the established corporatism. It's all of the commercial. It's all the consumerist stuff. It's not there. I mean, I've heard a little bit of like, oh, they're nicer than what we think. I know a lot of people obviously think we're all mean people.
Yeah, where like
walking around with guns shooting each other. But more so, it's about people falling in love with ranch dressing. It's people,
all of
again,
it.
like you said, the food. It's the consumerism that they're falling in love with, not
It's
necessarily.
all of
Yeah, it's the
like I
culture
said,
of
it's
consumerism.
there was some very beautiful, stories and viral things where like the German guy was like needed a ride, and these Americans picked him up, and he was like crying on the news about how nice Americans were and how he's been lied to his whole life. And when he was coming to America to watch the World Cup, he was like legitimately fearful that he was going to get shot, right? All the anti-American propaganda, which again is not necessarily false. Like you say, the corporatism, the ranch dressing, the temples of consumerism, that is Walmart, etc. All these things that are rightly critiqued here and abroad about America through this process, I would say, of the last 6 months leading up to the World Cup, and then reaching an apex, a crescendo over the weekend for 4th of July. Because remember, all of these foreigners who are in the country having their lives changed because they came here for the World Cup.
Celebrating 250 in America with Americans. That is the most.
They were there for it all. And there is even all these stories and viral things about overseas, like in Japan and in other countries. They were putting on elaborate July 4th 250 fireworks shows.
Okay, the externalization of the hierarchy going on.
So they're celebrating America in their own countries on behalf of America, which, of course, you know for a fact that a lot of that is a result of Trump's soft power magicianry, right? They didn't just do it because they wanted to. You know, the big man made a call and Japan put on a America 250 fireworks show, et cetera, et cetera. And along those lines, there's this story back to the World Cup and FIFA. Something happened over the weekend when it comes to FIFA, the White House, Trump. The headline for the story is "Inside the White House Campaign to Overturn a World Cup Red Card." And it's mentioned a little bit, but just for a little bit of background, for those who, Americans, we don't have a real close relationship with football or FIFA. Its power is sort of not flexed here in America. Soccer has no power here, okay? Your magic doesn't work here, football. But FIFA itself, which is the global worldwide football organization, a lot of people are aware of this, but if you're not, keep in mind, FIFA almost, and perhaps literally, exists as an extra governmental ruling body in its own way over pretty much the entire world except for America. If you've been following, there's been all these big stories. FIFA famously will politically punish countries for various reasons. FIFA has this power. It's almost like a World Economic Forum. FIFA outside of America to the rest of the world is like a World Economic Forum, just takes this different form around football because football is very important.
Well, FIFA, there's also something called FIFA Gate. Do you know about FIFA Gate?
Yeah. This was a couple years ago, last year, maybe something like that.
It says 2015, so a decade ago. But
well, there's a lot of FIFA Gates. I will say that there's a lot of FIFA Gates. They are constantly, they literally are an extra governmental world power, like the World Economic Forum. So keep
particularly with the one from 2015, the FBI and the IRS Criminal Investigation Division looked into wire fraud, racketeering, and money laundering by FIFA. So.
Oh, that's nothing, bro. That's nothing compared to what FIFA is going on. Monica asks, what does FIFA stand for? I don't actually know.
It's It's
The
the
Federation Internationale de Football Association. So just the International Soccer Association. Federation Internationale de Football Association. So there you go. Now, something big happened over the weekend. I do not think it is a coincidence that it happened basically on 4th of July. Happened on 3rd of July, but played out on 4th of July. Here it is. MSN. This was actually appeared in the Wall Street Journal. Inside the White House campaign to overturn. Now, before I start here,
oh gosh,
I hope
can't even finish a headline.
Please, as we go forward here, if you just tuned in, go back a few minutes and listen to the intro of the show where we got a chance to explain our relationship to Trump. Okay, keep that whole conversation in mind, because if you do not keep that in mind, nothing that I say from here on out will seem wondrous. Okay. Wall Street Journal. Inside the White House campaign to overturn a World Cup red card. In the hours after the U.S. secured its first victory in a World Cup knockout match in more than 20 years last Wednesday, the mood inside the White House was anything but celebratory. The game, held 2,400 miles away in Santa Clara, California, had been marred by a controversial red card for the Americans' top scorer at this tournament, striker Folarin Balogun, and it meant he would be automatically suspended for the next match. So America won its first big game in the World Cup in many, many years, but on the same game, there was a red card given to a player, which means that he could not play in the next match. And the next match is the quarterfinals. So this is very important for America. That's when senior Trump administration officials hatched a plan that would go down as one of the most audacious in the 96-year history of the World Cup. 96-year history, that's like way older than a lot of even like globalist deep state governing bodies. Like
not as old as the Olympics. The Olympic Committee. They probably learned from the Olympic Committee. They're the most corrupted.
I think there's an argument that FIFA and the Olympic Committee are like,
yeah, there might be some
maybe neck and neck in power. Like they are, anyways. Yeah. Coincidentally, we had the World Cup because of Trump. We also have the Olympics here in 2028, again because of Trump. So we have this campaign of like unimaginable soft power from the Trump administration. Never mind that soccer's world governing body fiercely protects its role as the final arbiter of what happens within the white lines of the pitch, or routinely metes out draconian punishment for political interference. The White House was going to take it upon itself to turn a refereeing decision into a matter of state and reverse a call in a soccer match. And in FIFA President Gianni Infantino, in FIFA President Gianni Infantino, the man Trump once called the king of soccer, officials knew they could count on a willing ally. For Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick and Andrew Giuliani, the executive director of the White House's World Cup Task Force and son of Rudy Giuliani, the borderline call was an injustice that demanded executive intervention. Starting that night, Lutnick and Giuliani organized several phone calls with Trump. According to people with knowledge of the matter, the suspension, they argued, wasn't merely undeserved. It threatened to undermine the U.S. team's chances when the Americans took on Belgium on Monday, that's today, in Seattle, for a place in the quarterfinals. So yes, not only did it threaten to undermine the soccer match, but it threatened to undermine America's power.
Hey, sports is a metaphor. Sports is a metaphor for all kinds of things. In this case,
a metaphor. It's a battlefield. It's a weapon. It's almost as effective of a weapon to wield in this kind of case, this international case, as like a nuke, right? I mean, it's that true. Level. Yeah. It's nuclear weapon level soft power.
A lot more people care about soccer or football than they do about nuclear situations. So,
Yeah. Yes, something
you're
like
going to see a
this
lot more protests from
can
something like
affect
this than
significantly more people's lives than, unfortunately, a
yeah,
nuclear weapon. I say that with a bit of jest. Don't get angry.
if they're real.
Trump, if nukes are real, which is questionable. Trump, who was instrumental in bringing the World Cup to the U.S. and views its success as a matter of personal pride, didn't want the ejection to cast a shadow over the tournament. So they're applying reasoning to Trump, which the media loves to do, right? This is one of the media's like favorite hobbies, is to state as fact what they want you to think is in Trump's heart, right? So they're kind of saying like, oh, this is just personal. The Mad King just has a personal grievance and doesn't like it when things don't go his way, not taking into account the reality of geopolitical maneuvering that's going on here. Trump, who was instrumental in bringing the World Cup to the U.S. and views its success as a matter of personal pride, didn't want the ejection to cast a shadow over the tournament. So the president instructed his team to find a way to lift the suspension. The people said Lutnick, Giuliani, and other administration officials started recruiting high-powered, Trump-aligned lawyers to mount a legal challenge to the suspension.
Oh my goodness!
They discussed.
They're deploying the lawfare soldiers.
The lawfare like Delta Force. They're putting together this like special operations lawfare squadron to challenge legally in the court of law the suspension of a soccer player. They discussed challenging FIFA's use of slow motion replay to decide whether Belogan's stepping on an opponent's ankle constituted a red card offense. Now, this idea of what actually happened constituting a red card offense is a huge conversation that we're not going to get into. We're not going to do a play-by-play. But the point has been made, and this is the background for this particular thing, that there are a million examples of players doing demonstrably way worse things on purpose, diabolical actions during soccer games that should constitute a red card, but didn't get a red card.
Especially the celebrity world-class athletes or soccer players that are well known. You know, the refs might turn a blind eye to some of those.
And so conversely, the conversation around the world, by the way, is that, hey, this referee made a bad call. It was obviously an accident. It wasn't a huge disaster. And giving a red card here is either A, just a bad mistake, a bad referee call, or B, suspicious. Like there's some sort of FIFA deep state that is trying to sabotage America.
FIFA is the deep state, but okay.
It is its own deep state, right? Yeah, FIFA is its own sort of whole thing. And so, yes, there's this suspicion that, hey, none of that makes sense. That is blowing this way out of the water.
Like some man in a dark suit walked up to the ref with a suitcase, showed him the money, and said, "Hey, you knock out the U.S., we'll give you this cash or something."
And
right?
It's one of those things. It's kind of like the legal system and like judges, right? Yeah. Where referees are individual people who are given this authority that they get to make calls, and what they say goes. So it could be as simple as a personal thing for a referee, could be a mistake, could be a personal grudge, or there could be some sort of deep state like thing going on here.
We should enjoy bad ref calls, because I think a lot of these eventually over time, they're going to want robots and AI and all that stuff to be running sports, governing, the plays and calls and stuff. And well, long the days.
That was another story last week or over the weekend. In another game, there was a bad call made that was on video. It was something about this guy wasn't supposed to hit the ball with his head, and the call was made that he hit it with his head, and so that, these things are big in soccer,
of course.
wars are fought over smaller things. But the call was made, and it's on video, it's slow motion. Any human person who watches the video, it is not up for debate that this soccer ball did not touch this guy's head. But an AI that was part of the refereeing system, the AI said that from what it saw, there's a 93% chance that the ball hit the guy's head. And so they made the decision and enforced the penalty. But anybody with eyeballs could see that it didn't happen. So this AI thing is already in the works here. And
of course.
because it's FIFA and because it's such a global power structure, it's also another example of this petri dish for deploying technocracy in the general public. This is as relevant as law enforcement using facial recognition and getting it wrong, right? Okay. So that's kind of the backstory on the red card that was given. Administration officials didn't take long to brief U.S. soccer officials about their plan, the people said. I like it was a brief. The White House legal team says, hey, soccer officials, just so you know, this is what we're planning on doing. So just know this is coming, right?
The black SUVs are deployed. They can see them coming. Yeah.
In the 24 hours after the game, the U.S. soccer publicly bemoaned that it had no recourse to appeal the decision and no obvious replacement for Boligan on the roster. Trump picked up the phone to the one person he knew had the power to put things right. Infantino, who's the president of FIFA, has ruled soccer's governing body since 2016 and courted Trump for nearly as long. He has been a regular guest of the Oval Office and popped up alongside Trump at events ranging from a UFC fight in Miami to the Gaza Peace Summit in Egypt. Trump took this guy, the soccer president, to the Gaza Peace Summit in Egypt. Again,
interesting. Might be relevant in the moment here.
Exactly. Showing how big and important FIFA is. They're in the room during these geopolitical peace summits. And when the two men spoke, Trump urged Infantino to review the Bologan call. The FIFA president agreed to look into it, but didn't commit to overturning it, one of the people said. By the time Trump and Infantino spoke again days later, however, Infantino was ready to tell him that the suspension was being lifted. Some of the people said. I love all their sources is they just say the people. Some of the people said this happened. The people said,
of course. What is this? Is this what outlet was it?
It's
Wall Street Journal. Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
FIFA had deployed a little-known provision known as Article 27, which it says allows its disciplinary committee to exercise its discretion when reviewing sanctions. And this is a small little detail that it's easy to miss. But, we talk about laws and their formatting and they're analogous to sort of grimoires, that when you write a law, a legal document, it's filed, it's official, it's in the Library of Congress. It becomes sort of a spell that can be referenced by these sort of esoteric power structures. And they can choose when to do it or not. Just because a law exists doesn't mean that it's automatically applied. It takes this sort of magicianry or
power,
something to pass this power to evoke or invoke that thing. So little known, very rarely used Article 27, which says it allows a disciplinary committee to exercise its discretion when reviewing sanctions, which is so simple and uncomplicated. It's surprising that that's not just a known thing. There's a disciplinary committee. The law just says, or the rule just says, it can decide when reviewing actions. It seems so simple, but the fact that it's so esoteric and hidden and rarely used is just it shows how FIFA does its job, kind of. Quote, "Thank you to FIFA for doing what is right and reversing a great injustice," Trump wrote on social media Sunday afternoon.
there's so many injustices in our own country going on. Every corner, there's some crazy injustice going on. But I'm glad our president is taking care of the most visible ones. The really important ones, like a bad call at the World Cup.
Exactly. He's very invested, and he has the power to do things like intervene in a soccer match. And you think, why? Well, the Wall Street Journal wants you to think it's just personal whimsy of the president. But of course, we know that that's not true, that there are bigger things at work, of course.
What's interesting, before you go on, just the color red, and especially because this is a red card, of course, we can go as deep as possible when it comes to the color red and all this kind of stuff. But in certain esoteric and occult symbolism, the red card, so to speak, can suggest power made visible, or like the final the alchemists will say this is sort of the last stage of the Philosopher's Stone, where the manifestation of something, it becomes visible to everybody. So that's very interesting.
Yeah, interesting. You got the red bracelet in Kabbalah.
Yes.
The red shoes, the whole thing. Not everyone took such a generous view. Let me back up again. Thank you to FIFA for doing what is right and reversing a great injustice, Trump wrote on social media Sunday afternoon. Not everyone took such a generous view. Soccer fans across the rest of the world. And this I start to question. Okay, remember, it's the mainstream media. It's here to craft a worldview. It's here to pick and choose and aggrandize and minimize and work with the ingredients of narrative to give you an impression about how to see the world in the way they want you to. And so it says, not everyone took such a generous view. So right there, vague language.
It could be one person on Facebook yelling at nobody, and that'll be not everyone. Yeah.
They're going to try to give the impression that the world is coming together to stand up against America and fight this corruption. But really, all they gotta do is one guy on X didn't want to, or whatever. Not to say that there's not people who don't like it.
I'm sure there is.
But the Wall Street Journal, of course, is building a narrative here for us. Not everyone took such a generous view. Soccer fans across the rest of the world cried foul over what they saw as a head of state putting his thumb on the scale and forever tarnishing the integrity of the World Cup.
So it's Trump's fault. He's the guy. He's the one that tarnished the integrity of the World Cup. No other
is a ludicrous
entity
thing to say,
or person.
As if FIFA and the World Cup is not already globally infamous for corruption. It's like wielding political power, giving this impression that the World Cup is seen as like this utmost, integrous institution and thing, which you can say this to Americans because Americans don't really know, right? I saw some chatters in the thing said I didn't even know FIFA existed until you just brought it up, right? So to Americans, there's kind of a blank slate where you can tell whatever narrative you want and they just won't really know. But Trump is forever tarnishing the integrity of the World Cup because, of course, they want you to think that, like a leper in ancient Israel, like a leper, if he touches you, you are then unclean, not just physically, medically, but spiritually, you are unclean. That's Trump.
There's a good list of histories, like I mentioned, the 2015 FIFA gate, but there's also 2010 South Africa World Cup bribery allegations. Jack Warner, who was the one of the vice presidents of FIFA, the CONCACAF corruption, where U.S. prosecutors accused him of exploiting certain positions for financial gain, of course. Yeah, 2018, Russia, 2022, Qatar bidding controversy, World Cup media rights deals, corruption. So, this is the first one where it's on the field, though. It's the first one on the field, Basil. The game was pure. The institution was corrupt, but not until Trump came around. The game itself was pure.
Exactly right. They're again, in classic American fashion, just have no idea what's going on
Of
when it
course.
comes to soccer. All right. FIFA declined to comment on the White House's influence and insisted that its disciplinary committee was an independent body. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Why? Like, what's even the question here? Of course, it's an independent body. And like all of us, again, analogous to our individual human bodies created in the image of God, we are also independent bodies. That doesn't mean that shenanigans are present or not present. Again, they're saying nothing while using this big language. The White House didn't respond to a request for comment. Belgium's soccer federation. Remember, Belgium is the team they are
Country we're playing next.
today,
Yeah.
the one that was, stands to benefit from America not having their best guy. Now, when I think back when I played whatever T-ball or the rare team sports I played in my life, which I used to be much more into, but not so much recently. There's an aspect of sportsmanship, right? You're like, hey, yeah, a bad call or whatever, their guy got banned or not. Hey, we all just want to play the game, okay? Like, it's a weird thing to kind of take sides on and cry about, unless, of course, they have some stake in the game here. And who knows what involvement they have or don't have. Belgium's Soccer Federation said that it was, quote, astonished by the reversal and announced that it was reviewing its options. So the Belgium Soccer Federation is getting ready to fight back. The lawfare is not over. The team's coach, Rudy Garcia, wondered if the whole affair was an April Fool's prank played in July. Ooh.
Wow.
Norway coach, just some coach not connected to it. Norway coach, there's a special Stoa, I think you would pronounce it. I think you'd pronounce it Stoa. Stoa Solbakken condemned the episode as a, quote, bad decision that will hurt the World Cup. Quote, I feel also sorry for the United States, Solbakken said. Quote, because if they win, that will always hang in the balance for it. Meaning, if they win,
sounds like what a loser would say. Setting up the loss. Wow, good job. If I was a player, I'd be like, Coach.
Now it's even if they win, they don't deserve it, right? It's really bad sportsmanship.
That's a bad, I mean, that's not surprising.
Even U.S. coach Mauricio Pochettino found himself in an awkward position. He had insisted after Balogun's ejection, which came in the 64th minute of the 2-0 win over Bosnia and Herzegovina, that it was, quote, never a red card. The Americans had been forced to finish the game a man down, which he said was punishment enough. Yet he refused to address whether or not it was appropriate for the President of the United States to involve himself. Quote, in the end, it's not that we're victims, Pochettino said in Spanish, quote, but we're not the bad guys either.
And the U.S. coach speaking Spanish.
If that is not the perfect distillation of, like, in this era, this golden age, as we're watching this transformation of America's soft power in the world. I mean, all Trump's wars and operations and all the military stuff, that's just one side of it. The other side is the soft power, right? Where does America culturally stand? And we've been watching this campaign over the last 6 months or more of just this revolution in America's stance, soft power wise. Of course, like I said, peaking over the weekend with the World Cup, et cetera, like America's back, baby, and everybody can feel it and everybody knows it. But there is a sense for Americans where, a lot of Americans, and I'm not meaning the patriotic ones, a lot of people are very clear on where they stand about America. And that's what it's all about. But there is a cohort of Americans who are having to reckon with this change that they're seeing, with now the foreigners and everybody talking about how great it is. Maybe the things that they've always criticized are actually what makes America special. Maybe we aren't the worst country. Maybe we aren't the white devils that, the Iranian government calls us. Maybe it's not so much that. And if this doesn't perfectly vocalize kind of where maybe the Trump administration or whoever is trying to invite those people who say they hate America, mostly because they think it's the right thing to do, right? For a long time, if you want to fit in, if you don't want to get, the side eye at the PTO meeting, if you don't want your friends to unfriend you on Facebook or whatever, you kind of were forced to be like, yeah, America's bad. Oh, we're the worst. Okay. And a lot of people don't think about it and they don't care. They just want to fit in. And that's there's been 10, 15 years of that, maybe even more. But now the last sentence of this tale of how Trump's masterful soft power relationship style politics can change the direction of history. They give you the mantra. This is the mantra that the America haters are being invited into changing their mind. And it's, in the end, it's not that we're victims, but we're not the bad guys either here. Okay. And even that is just like almost unimaginable. You go back just a couple of years in the Biden thing, like,
oh, you can go into the military industrial complex and the United States' hand in all kinds of world affairs. We're not the bad guys.
We're not the bad.
We're not really the bad guys. What's also interesting along these lines here is just the whole tone of the you mentioned the ethics of this. I think this is part of the wielding of soft power, the most prime example, because when we talk about the difference of hard power and soft power, if you're not familiar with those terms, I mean, they're pretty straightforward. But you think about hard power, you think force, like military force coming in, rounding up people, whatever. They're much more tangible, kind of boots on the ground type of stuff. Soft power is much more nebulous in a sense. It's through the law. The law is actually probably the most
spiritual, right? It's
right.
Like an analog to spiritual warfare in a way.
In a way. I think moral and the ethics of it is really the most clear way to talk about it, because you look at what Trump is doing. It was like what did it say? Moral prerogative or like ethical or something along those lines in this article? I can't remember if it said those exact words, but you had mentioned it. Yeah, you had mentioned how there's like this moral authority being wielded by Trump as like, we got to make the right decision here. We got to do the right thing.
Well,
as if
he talks about injustice, right? He
injustice.
says
Okay.
An injustice. And, an interesting connection is made for me here, to your point, is on Clubhouse last Thursday, I was talking about Psalm 23, and I was comparing my new translation, my study Bible versus, the regular stuff. And one of them, it says he leads me down the path of righteousness. And my new translation says something else. But that word righteousness, in Christianese, like a Christian person, you hear righteousness and you generally know what, that means something to you. You don't need to think about, what righteousness is. But to like a secular person, a Christianese word like that is kind of, they don't really get it. It could kind of turn them off. And, how do you define righteousness to a secular person? Well, and in its most like etymologically plain definition, like with the root words and stuff, it applies very closely to justice. Like even the word in Spanish for justice is something like righteousness. I don't know the word, but it's like the same word for righteousness. So when we say righteousness and we seek righteousness and God's righteousness, it's not just being good, like being a good boy, but it's justice. It's divine justice. It's things right and in alignment with the way God created them. And so for Trump to invoke the name of justice is has this moral and ethical implication on this like worldwide stage.
Yeah, another word is honesty. That's another the Hebrew word just or righteousness. Yes, it has the justice, but also the word honesty. So that's part of the equation here. But yeah, I think that's wielding that authority in a sense in this context of a sporting event, which is ultimately pretty inconsequential. I mean, I guess if you're betting on the World Cup, you got a little more on the line, but in terms of like
seem inconsequential.
That's
Our
what I'm
American
saying.
instincts, yes, would seem inconsequential. However, in the invisible realm, extremely
right, and culturally and everything else, spiritually, sure, but it's just interesting to see. It's a very telling thing where, and maybe this is part of the modernization of the world, that we're just a few steps away from this becoming actual policy making. Like let's settle the Gaza thing with a football match or something. I mean, and then it's going to be rigged. The balls are going to be rigged, and whatever. I'm sure someone's brought that up too. Do you think the soccer balls are rigged? You think they got some microchips in there that start making it spin a certain way?
I'm sure there's all sorts of crazy stuff. Interestingly enough, again, another weird connection, just to mention it. I didn't bring it to the show yet, but a listener sent me an article that somebody wrote about robot jocks. For those deep Canary Cry brand ambassadors, you'll remember Robot Jocks is like my favorite movie as a kid. It's like an 80s movie about giant robots, and the world is such that there's no wars, because if countries have disagreements with one another, instead of going to war and everybody dying, they have a robot battle between one guy on one side, one guy on the other side. They're in giant robots and they settle the score this way, right? Awesome movie and awesome article this person sent me. It has kind of a really interesting analogy to what we're seeing here, where it's, in a way, this geopolitical scorekeeping happening not in a military way on the battlefield, but still having significant impact on the state of geopolitics. Soccer is robot jocks. That's what I'm coming to. If anybody out there was looking for a reason or a way to think about soccer on the world stage, it's like countries duking it out in giant robot suits.
Fantastic. Did you okay, you're going to mention this.
Just a quick mention, because this is very interesting. This is kind of Trump's superpower here. And this is something that we've kind of touched on before. We know this because you kind of ask, okay, Trump made a personal call and something happened, and that's kind of what he gets to do. But you say, like, what exactly, like, what is the mechanism of this? And it's come up a couple times already in this episode, and that is the economy of magical objects. And as Marina Abramovich, head witch of the esoteric underground of the whole world, said multiple times, people are now familiar, she said, Trump, whether he knows it or not, is a very powerful chaos magician. Okay. And so there's an interesting esoteric way to, of course, if you're familiar with the elite machinations, esotericism is a big part of their worldview, the way they do things. But Trump, as a powerful chaos magician, one way that you can see this play out is he loves presents, and as in gifts, and he loves what I call magical objects, which is not just an object, but one that carries such powerful meaning. And like, they're like these little amulets of power, like you see in the movies or whatever. And when you get to a certain level in elite power structures, money stops mattering very much. Like, everybody just has so much money. Your peers have so much money that trading fiat currency becomes less and less interesting at that elite level. And what replaces it, there are a few things that replace it, some very dark things, but one of the things that replace it are magical objects. And Trump has a long storied history for decades and decades, people telling stories about, they went to Trump's office and Trump let them pick out off this shelf of just like amazing historical objects of pens or baseballs, and each one of them had a history and something important attached to it, and yada yada yada. It's kind of part of his deal is receiving and giving magical objects. And we covered this, I think it was last year, the year before. Here's the Politico article. They know how to get to me. Trump relishes his trophy life. The most powerful people on the planet are refining a strategy for meeting with President Trump. Make him feel like a winner. So Politico is putting it in this kind of Trump's a baby kind of sense, but they reveal what I'm talking about here. Argentine President Javier Milei on Tuesday presented Trump with a letter nominating him for next year's Nobel Peace Prize, just days after 2025 award, for which Trump had forcibly lobbied, went instead to the Venezuelan opposition leader. Interestingly enough, that story about the Nobel Peace Prize, that Venezuelan ended up giving Trump the Nobel Peace Prize. Again, another transaction of this magical object. Such a beautiful statement, Trump said, holding up the frame in gold, no less, in the cabinet room. In the latest series of personalized presents, the president has received from world leaders, business magnates, and sports titans. In August alone, Trump was gifted 3 Olympic medals, a FIFA World Cup, and a bespoke unit of 1 Apple plaque with a 24-karat gold base. Quote, "There's a solid gold trophy," Trump said on August 25th, gesturing to the FIFA World Cup during an unrelated Oval Office event. Quote, "They know how to get to me." And they go on and on. But they talk about how the FIFA president had given the World Cup to Trump. And there's a little bit of a story about it at the bottom, just to illustrate. Let me see here. It says 2 days later, FIFA President Gianni Infantino came to the White House bearing gifts: the gold World Cup trophy and a personalized FIFA ticket to the 2026 final. Row 1, seat 1, of course. So, of course, Trump has a ticket to the finals. He wants America to play in the finals. The trophy is, quote, "for winners only," Infantino told the president, quote, "and since you are a winner, of course you can touch it." Quote, "Can I keep it?" Trump asked. Quote, "We're not giving it back. That goes very well on the wall over there." So
Nice.
telling the story about, the FIFA World Cup president presenting Trump with what ended up being a replica of the trophy, not the literal trophy, but a replica, they say in the article. But you can see it's kind of like in John Wick when he's given like a coin for the Assassin's Guild or whatever, wherever he goes in the world, he can show this coin, and it's like his one favor that no matter what, if you have this coin, this little magical object, you can make something happen no matter what.
Yeah,
and that's
he's probably got a little red button in there. You take off the top, there's a little emergency button that he can press.
That's what it is, right? Trump was given the coin. When you need a favor, pick up the phone, show me the trophy, and anything you need, we can do it. And I think that's what happened here. I think that's what happened here.
He FaceTimed the president of FIFA holding the trophy.
He's like, "I'm calling in my favor. I got the trophy right here. You have to do what I say." And again, of course, Trump's whimsy is one part of it, but it's during this transformational weekend of July 4th, the pinnacle of, America's new standing in the world, or refreshed standing in the world, or whatever. It's a pretty major transition we're watching here. It's very surprising to watch, but also very interesting to look kind of behind the curtain and see this very real, very important soft power economy playing out, because the media and everybody's so obsessed with the military and the wars and the power and the blah, blah, blah. And they can totally miss this sort of stuff going on behind the scenes that is at least as important as military power, but possibly even more.
Yeah, more recently, King Charles came to the White House, gave the Trump bell from 1944.
Yeah, Trump
There's
bell
also
from the submarine, the Trump submarine.
yes. There's also a replica of the Ark of the Covenant
Yes.
at his Mar-a-Lago location. So yeah, he's really into all this stuff, all these artifacts. But there's more weird stuff happening in actual geopolitics, and this might be a reflection of some of the stuff going on
I think
now.
it's related. I think it's
Yeah.
related. Actually,
What?
real quick,
Okay.
it is absolutely related because
Okay.
in the Politico article, they bring up the
This old political
golden
article.
pager. In February,
Ah.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu bestowed the president with a golden pager, a trophy-like reference to an Israeli military operation that involved blowing up the pagers of Hezbollah affiliates. And it goes on. So, it's on the list of kind of the receipt, the magical objects receipts. You see this playing out. Benjamin Netanyahu, the golden pager, and this next story.
World War III. We can fight the Third World War down there.
Speaking of the beast system, beast system.
This is coming out of AP, so it's legit. And the headline here is Hamas dissolves its government in Gaza to transfer power to a UN-backed committee. So,
boom.
I mean, wow.
Boom.
This is kind of crazy. I mean, Gaza has been the bane of everyone's existence all over the world when it comes to the conflict with Israel and all that. So, okay, so Hamas dissolving its government in Gaza to transfer power to a UN-backed committee. Okay, let's see what the AP reports here. The Hamas militant group said Monday it had dissolved its government in Gaza and is preparing to transfer power to a technical committee backed by the United Nations as part of a U.S. brokered ceasefire deal. A technical committee backed by the United Nations. Okay.
It's a different way of saying a technocratic committee.
Technocracy. Yeah, I think they're a little more explicit in a moment here. Hamas did not say whether it planned to take the crucial step of disarming or handing over security to an international force, but described its decision as evidence of its commitment to Gaza's reconstruction after years of war.
This
okay,
is
what
soft power is about, right? We're also watching this soft power. Hamas said it dissolved its government. Israel didn't destroy its government. The U.S. didn't nuke its government. Hamas
Gaza,
dissolved its government to hand it over to a technocratic committee. It's incredible.
Yeah, it was unclear if the move, announced by a lower level official, some peon announced it, would lead to any meaningful change on the ground. The Board of Peace, the new entity led by President Donald Trump with the mandate of governing and rebuilding Gaza, said it was aware of the Hamas announcement, but would assess the impact based on, quote, actions, not promises, end quote. The board stressed in a statement on X that the Technocratic Committee must control all weapons in Gaza as laid out in the ceasefire agreement. So there you go, right there.
Yeah.
Obvious reference in AP that it's not just a technical committee, it is a technocratic committee. And also the main indicator they're looking for is that the weapons and all the violence, the means to violence in Gaza are handed over to this technocratic committee.
The monopoly on violence. The monopoly on violence must be handed over to this technocratic committee.
That's wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. At a news conference Monday, Ismail al-Thawabta general director of the Hamas-run government media office, said, quote, only technical and professional staff would remain in their position to run the Palestinian enclave day-to-day affairs. Only technical and professional staff. That is the technocracy in the 1910s and 20s. Yeah, in the 1910s and 20s, the whole concept of a technocracy was, hey, these politicians, they don't know what's going on. You know, they got these biases. They don't understand how everything works. Let's get the engineers, the mathematicians, the technical people, the scientists. Let's get them in there because they know how all of this works. And so they'll have a more informed palate to make their decisions. That is the technocracy. I mean, straight up.
Perfectly in line, of course, as we've covered before. That is Trump's.
That's his thing.
He is the spiritual ancestor. He is in
literal in some sense, yeah.
Right. He is in the lineage of Technocracy Inc. from the 20s or whenever it was, where they imagined Mexico, Canada, America as one big technocracy, including Greenland, and we've gone through this whole thing here. And the Board of Peace, remember, the thing that Trump just spun up. I was going to say randomly, but not.
It's not so random.
It wasn't random, but it was. He spun up, and the idea of the Board of Peace, of which he is the chairman, with no plans of not being the chairman, is explicitly meant to replace the United Nations. It's this it's like the Trump globalist organization.
Right.
And so Trump, not as the president of the United States, and this is a subtle difference we got to keep in mind. There's Trump, the president of the United States, but then there's Trump, the chairman of the Board of Peace. And those are two different positions and two different things, because Trump will not be president someday. But when that day comes and he is not president, he is still the chairman of the Board of Peace.
You know why that's so interesting is because when Obama was stepping down, of course, the end of his term between 2008 and 2016, one of the big rumors at the time was, because the whole Antichrist thing didn't work out with Obama. There was a lot of Christians saying Obama's the Antichrist. And he didn't really turn out to be like the Antichrist. So people were like, well, what do we do now? And they were saying, Obama's going to take over the UN. He's going to become president of the UN. And that's how we'll get the, one world government, new world order, that type of thing. But ironically, he was in his underwear and running the Biden administration.
Exactly.
In the meantime, Trump openly does the Board of Peace. And like you said,
replace the UN.
We're all
running around scared about Obama being the Antichrist taking over the UN, and Trump waltzes on in, spins up.
It's everyone's support, by the way.
Yeah,
all those Obama haters are like, yeah, Trump, and then turns out he's putting together the global international institution think tank that's going to guide all this stuff and police the world. Interesting.
And we have to process and contend with that. And that's the confusing part when people think we are Trumpists. Whatever a Trumpist is like, hey, no, we're just calling it how we sees it. Look, on the Antichrist discussion, there's lots of, as an American, I love watching America be awesome like we are seeing in recent months. But also, as a Christian, watching the sovereignty of God unfold in front of me. I have nothing in my power. I cannot stop the beast system. I cannot stop the events of the book of Revelation. That is not my job. If you're Peter Thiel,
I was going to say, if you're Peter Thiel, it's definitely your job, apparently.
Like Peter Thiel, you make it your job to build an AI so that the Antichrist doesn't build his own AI. Oh, imagine that. But here, us now, as witnesses of God's sovereignty, you see Trump, the warrior against globalism, spin up the Board of Peace, make himself the chair, perhaps for life. When he's not the president, he's still the chair. And this Board of Peace is really the one that kind of has the final say on what's going on in Palestine, as we will see here. And like that paragraph you just read, says the Board of Peace, the new entity led by President Donald Trump with the mandate of governing and rebuilding Gaza, said it was aware of the Hamas announcement. Because remember, Hamas has announced that they are going to be working with the UN. So this is outside of the Board of Peace right now. And this is, I think, key and why this story is not over. Okay. This is the first move in a next phase of what we're going to watch, because we're watching the Board of Peace, one world government, contend with the United Nations, one world government, the post World War II. He's sort of building this new machine to take the reins of the new world order, right? And so, yes, this is Gaza. You might say, oh my gosh, Hamas giving up their government. Wow, Trump did it. No. That's not where we're at. They get Hamas dissolving its government, handing it over to the United Nations, opposite of the Board of Peace. And
there's a lot. I mean, you got to put a whiteboard up and do a mind map to understand all the different moving parts with this, because you also have Israel right there. You have, Trump sort of back and forth with Israel. The Iran stuff is involved in. So there's a lot of moving parts, and we don't have to dive through all of it. But
it's very subtle.
But it is subtle. Yes,
you kind of got to just pay attention through time here. But the Board of Peace, the new entity led by President Donald Trump with the mandate of governing and rebuilding Gaza, said it was aware of the Hamas announcement, but would assess its impact based on actions and promises. So Trump is kind of like, hey, well, I'm not buying it. I see what you're doing, UN. You're trying to swoop in and to build your own Palestinian technocracy. So we're going to
they don't want
to watch. We're going to wait. We will assess the impact based on actions, not promises. The board stressed in a statement on X that the Technocratic Committee must control all weapons in Gaza as laid out in the ceasefire agreement. So what we see here is a setup where now Trump and Netanyahu and the Board of Peace actually has an incentive for Hamas to not hand over the reins to the UN. We may be seeing some interesting, reactions, whether they're military reactions, something, this is not what Trump wants. It doesn't benefit him in the way that he's hoping.
Right. So it's almost like Trump wants to reconstruct Gaza with Mara Gaza. It's almost like they're making their own reconstruction without the Trump plan.
Yeah,
so
they're trying to stop Mara Gaza.
Right,
they're like,
right. But they still want
know this is over. We know we need to dissolve our government. We're gonna have to. They're just trying to choose who they want to take over Palestine, and right now they're trying to give it to the UN instead of the Board of Peace.
It's such a bad situation too, because since October 7th, according to AP, this is another article. This is the link for the Gaza's reconstruction article. Of course, October 7th, 2023 is what kicked off this phase that we're in of the Israel versus Gaza situation. 1,200 people killed, 251 hostages taken in that event. But since then, Israel has retaliated, according to AP, killing 73,000 Palestinians. So it's a little bit of, I don't know if there's enough retaliation there or not. But what's interesting, they talk about back to this article, they talk about the different things that this will be good moving forward towards a positive step towards the path to implement a ceasefire. But it does quote Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar. He dismissed the move, saying it was designed to avoid disarmament. Quote, as long as Hamas retains its weapons, any civilian government will, of course, operate as Hamas dictates, he wrote on X.
So that's the
committee.
trick.
Yeah. The Committee of Technocrats. I mean, this article just becomes more and more explicit as it goes on. The Committee of Technocrats, which is based in Cairo, is chaired by Ali Sha'ath, a Gaza-born engineer and former official with the Palestinian Authority. It has a mandate to restore essential services and oversee civilian affairs under the supervision of the UN and the Board of Peace.
Ah, interesting.
So there is something working out here. It might be this sort of it's a negotiation taking
a little
place.
bit of working together, not trying
yeah.
to be at war with one another, the UN versus the Board of Peace, but sort of a reshuffling.
Yes. But the thing not to not miss is that the reason why this is probably happening to begin with is because Trump did put together the Board of Peace, where it sort of puts, the UN was sort of the monopoly of world power institutions. When Trump puts together the Board of Peace, then you have an opposition force to be like, well, I'm going to take over the UN. He threatened the UN, the whole deal. It sort of forces the UN to fall in line to certain things. So if, and this is a big if the ultimate goal of somebody like Trump is to actually, it doesn't matter who gets it done, it's peace in Gaza and that whole region, then maybe that's a tactic to try to get some people, whether it's Hamas or the UN, to start moving and actually doing something rather than, sitting around and continuing to do all the destruction and killing from all the sides. It says here at the end in a statement on X, Sha'ath acknowledged the Hamas announcement Monday and said that in order for the committee to function effectively, there must be a, quote, a single governing authority operating under one legal framework and, quote, a unified security apparatus accountable to that authority. What does that sound like? Does that not sound like the New World Order?
Beast system, baby.
The whole beast system. It's a
one world government.
It's the George Bush New World Order. What did he say? He said it was the rule of law. It was the rule of. He talked about the rule of law back in the 90s. So it's that thing. It's like everyone's got to be under the same umbrella. You can't operate outside of it because that's how this mess starts. Now, this individual,
e pluribus unum. Pluribus unum.
Yes.
Many one.
With one. Yeah. Ali Sha'ath. And this is, thank you to Sir Ike for pointing this out. There is a little bio on Dr. Ali Sha'ath, Chief Commissioner, Acting Commissioner for Energy and Transport. Interesting. For AWQAF, the AWQAF, and Religious Services. It says he's a national leader, senior strategist, yada, yada, yada. It says here that he holds a PhD and an MSc, is that a Master of Science?
Master of Science, I think.
Yeah, in civil engineering from Queen's University of Belfast, UK.
Yeah, interesting
Belfast.
connection to Northern Ireland there.
Yes. Yeah. And a BS in civil engineering in Ain Sham in Cairo, Egypt. So
I mean, he's just straight up engineer. Like he's
straight up engineer. He's a technocrat.
Straight up engineer, technocrat who is being put at the head of the new government, technocratic government. It's a little petri dish. It's a little petri dish. Everybody's trying to figure out how technocracy, can be deployed. And they needed to rubbleize Gaza to do it and rebuild it in their own technocratic image. And yeah, very interesting. That comes from that he was educated in Belfast, right? So he's got this British. Of course, there's the Northern Ireland and Palestinian connection. The Queen
parallels,
considered that the Israel-Gaza situation was the Northern Ireland situation. They inform each other on policy, and this fellow was, brought up and molded in that British version and then put in charge of the Palestinian version. It's really crazy.
So are they, I don't know, the ceasefire stuff is... that's the part.
I don't know. I think we got what we got. I think we got what we
I know. It's just I just don't picture much changing other than maybe like more sophisticated weapons.
We're just watching. We're watching the play. The script is being played out in front of us. There's no, these mainstream news articles. Every single article is like, "Here is the world as it stands now. This is the world you live in." And that's how they keep you going from like one state of understanding, then rip you out of it and say, oh no, now it's this, now it's this, now it's this. But just sit back. Just know this is one step in the thing. We already know how it ends. We've already read the book. And now we just get to watch it happen. Thank God.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's very fun, guys. Very fun top of the show here. Man, we got so much more show to do, hopefully.
I know.
So let's take a second and thank our producers, because we are on the value for value model, folks.
Yes, it's true. Hold on, I have the jingle so you don't have to explain all of it.
Yay.
Value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.
That's right. That's right. We don't participate in the system that makes shows like this possible by bending the knee and working with corporations in the format, the structure, the scaffolding of mind control and advertising to keep the show going. Not a penny of platform partnerships, advertisements, or anything like that goes to support the show. We only exist because of the value for value model, meaning that if you get any value out of this, you should also know that unlike what we have been taught, that our simple viewing of a video, because of its advertisements at the front and the back, we give of our consciousness, our time, our understanding. We pay for things with these God-given sort of ethereal resources that we have without even knowing it often. And what does it do? It benefits corporations, mammon, the beast system, the whole thing. But value for value is very different. We do not do that. And so the only way that we can continue doing this is for those who get any value out of what we do here and want to continue having Canary Cry in their lives, we must come together like Paul wrote about in the book of 1 Corinthians. We must come together and provide some value to keep the ministry going. And that value can take many forms. Your time, your talent, your treasure, whatever. Not all about money, whatever God has given you to put value into his work here on earth. You can help us out that way. If you have time that you want to give, if you want to help us out, if you want to volunteer for stuff, you can do that. If you are an artist or a musician or a creative person at all, you can go to canarycry.art. You can upload your art for the show, make something for the show. Again, make it for us, put it up. We love to feature it on the show. But if all else fails, you can support us financially. Of course, that's very important. And the show wouldn't exist without our financial producers. Big old shout out to all of our monthly producers. God bless you. We are so blessed by you. And of course, our executive producers are people who come in and they support the show for any individual episode like this for $100 or more. So we like to thank them. And yeah, you know, in this big transformation in the world here, things are scary. We understand. Not a whole lot of producership over the past week, but we did have one very faithful executive producer, and I bet you could guess it is executive producer Sir LX Protocol V2 Baron of the Bryan Protocol.
Baron.
Comes in, supports the show for $100.33.
Thank you, LX Protocol.
501 episode streak and a 155 episode executive producer streak.
Oops, wrong jingle.
Incredible. Thank you very much. Now, we had just a handful of producers come in under the executive producer amount. And remember, folks, I invite you, go over to canarycry.support, pray about it, whatever the Lord lays on your heart. Just know, without these financial producers, Gonz and I are in a pretty bad situation. So we want to honor and thank you. And these producers came in under the executive producer amount, but over the $7.77 mark, which means they're entitled to have a note read on the show if they'd like, starting with producer Parker N.
Parker N, thank you very much.
Parker N is here.
Right.
And Parker N produces the show for $56.78 plus fees,
5678. Love
good.
it.
Good reminder. If you want to produce the show and you come in for a nice round number on the 10 or the 5, like $10, $20, whatever that is, that's you telling us you would prefer we do not disclose the amount on the air. We like to give the option for anonymity whenever we can. But if you don't mind us or you would like us to read the amount on the air, put some funky numbers on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 11, 33, 77, whatever. Whatever you want to do, you can put it in your amount, and we'd love to read it on the show. Parker N comes in and leaves a note for us, and it's very simple. It's Psalm 93, and I'll read it now. The Lord reigns. He is robed in majesty. The Lord is robed. He has put on strength as his belt. Yes, the world is established. It shall never be moved. Your throne is established from of old. You are from everlasting. The floods have lifted up, O Lord. The floods have lifted up their voice. The floods lift up their roaring, mightier than the thunders of many waters, mightier than the waves of the sea. The Lord on high is mighty. Your decrees are very trustworthy. Holiness befits your house, O Lord, forevermore. Thank you very much, Parker N. Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
Amen. Amen. And of course, we have producer Rebecca T coming in.
Rebecca T, thank you very much.
Keeping it going, trucking along. Comes in for 11:11. Thank you very much.
That's very nice.
11.
And is on a 38 episode streak. Thank you very much.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
She's on a streak.
Beautiful. Climbing up to that 42 there, Rebecca T. 42 episode streak. We got Monica, producer Monica, coming in for a pocket full of 7s.
Thank you.
Much. Monica also produced Clubhouse last week, so I'll give her a shout out.
Nice.
For that, which puts her on a 9 episode streak.
Where'd you find this?
Hey, you lit now.
That's right. You're lit, Monica. Thank you very much. Monica left a note here. Says some pocket change for the new golden age, baby. Thanks for all you guys do. Thank you, Monica.
Thank you, Monica.
And that's just about it, with the exception of Cage Rattler Coffee Guns.
Ooh, okay.
Go to CageRattlerCoffee.com, folks. This is the place to be. Don't drink that moldy, bad, burnt coffee. Go to CageRattlerCoffee.com.
Cage Rattler Coffee, where value for value never tasted so good.
That's right, Canarians. This is where you should be getting your coffee. Cage Rattler Coffee supports the show, value for value, and it's just so you, dear Canarian, can break away from the system, from the machine, from the poisonous, gulping torrent of bad, moldy
black goo.
Black goo. Get away from that black goo. Instead, Canarians, just like you, have come together and have done the work. They source single origin, GMO free, organic coffee beans from all over the world: Nicaragua, the Congo, Ecuador. I mean, it's all over the place. It's all single origin. And roasted in tiny, itty bitty little batches just for you. And of course, when you come get your coffee from Cage Rattler Coffee, which I am always told is the best, and experience myself as well, is the best every morning. Gons as well. Not only are you supporting Canary Cry families, other families like you, where we need to be sticking together, parallel economy. Hello. Don't let Mammon decide where your money goes. That is between you and God. You can support other Canarians, and in turn, they support the show.
I was just saying that, the coffee is warm when I start the show. Obviously, it doesn't stay warm. It turns, starts to go lukewarm and then kind of cold towards the end of the show. Still good. The flavor is so good that it just, I drink my coffee just black. I don't like any sugar or milk or anything in it. It's just pure flavor, and it's just delicious. I love it.
There you go. It's good
So
stuff. You can do it that way. You can do it like me. I run it through the espresso machine I stole from my father, and a little bit of milk, a little bit of MTC oil, I think it's called.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah. And then just gulp it immediately.
Should we do a line of Canary Cry creatine as well? I hear it's good for the brain. You got to do like a whole bunch.
Creatine, amino acids. heck, steroids, who knows? All
Canary
sorts.
cry, some extra tea.
So go to cagerattlercoffee.com, get your coffee there. There's a subscription you can sign up to, get it every month. You can get your sampler box if you don't know exactly what kind you want. There's the Nephilim Hunter Dark Roast, Emu Wrangler Medium Roast. You're going to have some fun. Do some exploring. There's some great stuff over there. Thank you very much, Cage Rattler Coffee, for making it happen. And just because Unspecified Podcast in the YouTube chat says, I was driving. Where do I go to be a producer again? Thank you, Unspecified Podcast, for asking the question and not just forgetting and gallivanting off to whatever the next thing in your life is. We must
that rooster.
take the moment, any moment, to produce the show, because we will forget. Other things happen in life. Value for value is not incentivized and required in this life, in this culture, in this mammon beast system. It is our lives do not hang in the balance like with value for value, like other transactions we are forced to make. Dear Unspecified Podcast, and anybody else listening, go to canarycry.support. Canary Cry. There you go.
There it is.
Of course, we had some people come in, support the show under the $7.77 mark. We're going to be thanking them on Wednesday. Thank you. Fun part is we also had some art come in over the weekend, Gons.
Oh, yes, we did.
Right. Artists coming in, support the show. In what order would you like to thank our artists?
Let's do the tree first. We have a piece from Jolmes, some more fart work. Lone Tree is the caption.
Tree. There it is. And it is just like it says on the tin. It is a lone tree. Little sketch of a tree. Jolmes, thank you very much.
Yeah,
what mysteries?
Thank you.
What mysteries lie in that tree? I have no idea. Perhaps somebody has etched "Think Outside the Cage" in the bark of the tree on the other side where we can't see. Maybe a family.
It's true. There probably is some code in there somewhere in the tree.
Unable to discern it, but thank you, Jolmes, for drawing this tree for us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, maybe some humanoid legs in there somewhere. I don't know what's going on, but thank you very much for the tree. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful tree.
Sometimes, Guns, a tree is just a tree.
Everything has hidden messages.
Yeah.
Everything is a message. All right. We also got something from Curious Asian Lurker.
Thank you.
Fantastic piece. There's a note here that reads, "The Curious Canary's thoughts whilst chilling on a tree." There you go. Yes.
Thank you, Curious Asian Lurker. We've got this wonderful graphic art done here, and we got this canary chilling in a beautiful tree. Another tree. Interesting tree theme.
Lots of trees. Yeah, tree theme.
Yeah. And the canary, of course, mouth wide open because the canary is crying. And we have this thought bubble coming off the canary, which is kind of this fun. You see those conspiracy theory thought maps, right? Where somebody has made this humongous graphic with teeny tiny little letters connecting like Rothschilds, Bilderberg, Elon Musk. And that has to do with World War II and all these arrows and everything pointing around. It's done something kind of like that with a bunch of bubbles.
Like a thought bubble. Yeah. I like the layers here because you have like the outer layer.
The outer layer that encompasses all the other topics. It says prophecy, Jesus, salvation, spiritual warfare, revelation, rapture, new heaven and new earth. Of course, everything we think about is in that context. So that's very well represented here. Curious Asian Lurker. But on the inside, there's too much to read them all, but you will see bubbles inside of bubbles connecting to other bubbles. Of course, it says CCR, CCNT, Basil and Gonzo. You've got Face Like the Sun, the Joyspiracy Theory, some other projects of ours, Chronovisor, Predictive Programming, Hollywood, YouTube, podcasts, the Y-Files, PsyOps, COINTELPRO, Truman Show, Surveillance, Facial Recognition, Mark of the Beast, Technocracy, the Jesuits, Israel. It's all in there, all connected.
I like the corner here. He crammed in some stuff in the corner. You got CERN, Large Hadron Collider Mandela effect, which by the way, CERN shut down for the next 4 years. People are making jokes. It's really, really good
safe
jokes.
for a few years. Things are going to
The
be
jokes
okay.
are hilarious. Yeah, the Mandela effect has stopped. The Bible has stopped being changed. UAP, UFOs, USOs, NHI, psionics. Then you have Project Bluebeam. You got demons and Nephilim. It's a lot. It's like almost everything.
Yeah, no, it's
and
good.
there's a little-
I mean, it's difficult to really put into an image what we got going on here, but this proves to me that Curious Asian Lurker, is paying attention. He gets what we're doing.
I'm trying to read this imprint on the tree. You know how like you go to a tree and you find like Joe and Savannah or something.
Yeah,
There's like a little carving inscription on the tree.
Basil plus Gons forever.
That's
number 4.
Yeah, I can't read what it says. Can you read this? I don't. It's some secret dictation here. There's a 33 in it. I can see a 33 in there.
See if I can.
But I can't quite read. I can't get much closer than this. Hold on. Let me see if I can zoom in a little more here as we're doing some forensics.
It's some math. It's like.
Is it math? I don't know. I don't think it's math. I think it's
symbol, like the approximate equal sign. I think 3.
I see the 33 V3.
Well, it's a secret message. There's a secret message in there somewhere. It might just be Curious Asian Lurker, maybe giving a clue to his secret identity or something. We're gonna have to dive deep. If anybody wants to retrieve this image and go into the spectrograph and dig into the pixels, see if there's any hidden messages. The image is available in the newsletter that I sent out today before the show. So hopefully you're on the newsletter. You can get the image there and go to work. Beautiful. All right. A couple of things. We had some great sort of producer generated stuff here. Before we have a few speak pipes I want to listen to.
Yep.
But I want to hit a couple of messages that came in on the text message alert system. We have the Canary Cry text message alert system. You should be on the newsletter. That'll tell you when we're going live. But also, do not rely on YouTube to send you notifications. It will not tell you. Do not rely on getting our X posts. Do not rely on anything. The big tech platforms, they do not want you here to see us live. But you can circumvent that a little bit by joining the Canary Cry text message alert system. Just text the word canary. Don't get fancy. Don't get froggy with it. Just text the word canary to 877-740-3226. It is an automated system. Okay. Do not text me, hey, put me on the list. I can't. It's illegal. You have to text canary to join the list to 877-740-3226. I will send you a text before every show just to let you know that we're going live. Fun part is you can text me back. I cannot carry on a text conversation with you. It's very expensive, but sometimes I read them on the show. And we had some pretty good ones come in. And of course, the moment that I want to read them on the air, the text message surface bumps me out and makes me log in again, which includes getting an email with a secret code. And now I've done it. I've gone pretty fast at that. Okay, here we go. Let's see. 916 texted me a question that we get a lot, and that is, can you talk about the little season theory? We can't talk about the little season theory. Gons and I are both not educated enough, and we've talked about this. This has been a thing on the show for a long time. We need somebody to come on the show, tell us about the little season theory. I try my best. Sometimes I talk about it on Club.
Is this the Satan's little season theory?
It's Satan's little season. It's the preterism little season thing.
I see. Yeah.
Like it's still eschatological. It's an interesting.
It is.
It's not unfounded, but it's a sort of eschatological, I guess, second option to Revelation and how it's playing out on Earth. It's something like that. A lot of people ask us to talk about it, but we're not pros. So, I
might address it for one of the Bible studies that I'm doing every week. I skipped this past week because it was a little bit too much. But yeah, no, I can tackle some of that. Maybe.
Yeah, get into it. People want to, maybe we'll get a guest on the show or something. 484 says, such nice boys. We appreciate you too. Thank you, 484.
Appreciate it.
940 says, wait a minute. Basil, are you a Trump shill? This is the first time hearing of this. Right. That's right. It's the news flash. Trump shill. 262. Oh, this is Kristen. Oh, this is fun. Okay, I was talking. I talked to a great Canarian on Clubhouse last Thursday, and I want to say this: I'm pretty casual on this show talking about Clubhouse. Okay, I'm not trying to push anybody to come listen to the podcast I do on Thursdays. A lot of people skip it. That's okay. It's not a news show. I think it's very important. We do a lot of great things. We do Bible study. Everybody who complains that this show doesn't do more Bible study and like doesn't talk about the gospel enough in news, that's what Clubhouse is for. I am now officially encouraging everyone. If you have not checked out Clubhouse, you are missing out. Go give it a try. The last episode was a really great episode. This is my official, I implore you, if you've been skipping it or just not interested, go listen to Clubhouse. It's really evolved into almost an essential listening for the Canary Cry lifestyle brand. But Kristen texts, on that show, last Clubhouse, we had a caller from Puerto Rico who called in. Ooh. And he has been listening since 2012. He's an old school guy. He's been with us forever.
OG.
Right? OG. And you can listen to the conversation. It was a great conversation. But the talk of course, Rob Skiba came up. And during that Rob Skiba thing, we talked a little bit about, I think his name's Jeremiah Skiba, I think is his name.
Yep, his son.
His son, Skiba News Nation.
Yeah.
And, I kind of talked about like, hey, we know that he does a show. I've kind of poked around it. I haven't spent a whole lot of time, but people found us. I mean, Rob was a great friend of ours. A lot of people found us because of Rob and vice versa. So it's, part of me thinks like, well, we should get in contact with Jeremiah. Like, I don't know. It seems right.
I've been in contact with him.
But it's also kind of weird to be like, hey, I knew your dad. Like you walk around town.
I'm gonna go.
Like, I knew your father. But anyway,
DMs. I know we've had back and forth with him before because he invited us to a conference he was doing and stuff. But yeah,
that must have been a long time ago.
It was maybe a couple of years ago. Yeah.
Anyway, so we've never connected with Jeremiah Skiba in the way that maybe we should or that we want to. So I mentioned that on the show, and then this text message came in. Says, hi, Basil. Thank you for your Skiba News Nation shout out on Friday. If you are still interested in being a guest, we would love to reschedule. Reschedule? Was I scheduled? Oh, geez, this is going to be embarrassing. I think I was scheduled once. I don't remember what happened. Kristen, manager, Skiba News Nation, texting the text message alert system. Kristen, I vaguely remembered that we had something set up and it didn't work. I do not know why. I apologize profusely. And yes, we would love to set up an opportunity to go on Skiba News Nation. There you go. Fun text message. A couple more, maybe one last one here. 762, of course, all praises to the Most High God, Jesus Christ. 970 says, oh, this is Krillin. Krillin says, Baz and Gons, you are blessings to the world from God himself. Thank you for your hard work and dedication to the Canarium, and may supernatural optimism drive us towards God's kingdom. Krillin. Thank you, Krillin.
Thank you,
being
Krillin.
a brand ambassador for my thing this whole year, which is supernatural optimism. Listen to Canary Cry Clubhouse if you find yourself needing some supernatural optimism, which should be all of you. Okay, check it out.
Krillin makes me feel like Goku,
Yeah.
Just the positivity, the encouragement,
You are. 615 texted, says, please check your Rumble chat. Important. X you both too. Okay. I'm looking at the Rumble chat. Sue RN says, JT follows JC would be a good guest to talk about Little Season. All right, let's make a note of that. JT follows JC can come on the show to talk about Little Season. Thank you, Sue.
Okay.
And then Nomen Prunte texts and let us know he has a speak pipe, which is a great transition to check some of our voice messages. Thank you, everybody, for texting. Thank you for everybody on the list. If you haven't done it yet, give it a try. You can always get off the list, okay? If you sign up, text Canary to 877-740-3226. If you don't like getting the text messages, you just text stop and it stops, okay? But give it a try. You're going to love it. And with that, you can also leave us a voicemail, okay? Go over to canarycrynewstalk.com. You'll see a green tab on the right hand or the bottom of the page. Click on that green tab, and you'll be able to leave us a 90-second voice message. By default, we will play this voice message on the show. If you do not want us to play the message, if it is a private message, say so immediately, because we often do not listen to these before the show. And we don't want to give away your secrets. But we had a few speak pipes come in, Guns. You want to walk us through them?
Sure. Let's start off with Rochelle, since we haven't heard from Rochelle in a while. Actually, I think we have. We have a Rochelle jingle somewhere. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Let's see, how do you spell Rochelle? Is it R-O-C-H? Oh, here it is.
Rochelle. Get out of my face, Rochelle.
There she is, Rochelle.
Hello, Canarians. It's Rochelle. It's been a minute. Do you still have my jingle, Gons? Anyway, it's been kind of a crap show here lately. My husband left me, etc., etc. Anyway, I'm doing good. And I have a song for you guys. I'm just going to jump in the middle of it, but it'll still make sense. Where were you, Job, when I laid the foundations? When the morning stars sing of creations, I placed the line upon the land. I placed the waves upon the sand. I part the light distinctly. I part the springs of the sea. I direct the rivers, I command the lightning. With torrential rain, the tender herbs I will bring. I control Pleiades and Orion. I feed the lamb, I feed the lion. I deck myself with majesty. Out of time. Love you guys.
Out of time. Thank you
Out of
very
time.
much.
Good to hear from you, Rochelle. Of course, that was
great
Job
to hear
38.
So it's Job 38.
Recognized it immediately. Yep.
So sorry to hear about your situation.
That's a bummer.
That's very sad, but also, each one of those situations is different. But let's call the producers real quick, Gons, for
Let's
Rochelle.
do it.
Producers, assemble!
Right. Of course, we have our producers, but then there's the producers who spiritually produce the show. When we hear a prayer request or just something we're going to pray for, everybody drop what you're doing. Say a little prayer, put it in your journal, pray for it later. We're praying for Rochelle, obviously going through a life transition. We don't know the details, so we will not put any sort of judgment on it, except for that the sovereignty of God and God's love be all over Rochelle, the whole family, and bring comfort and peace. And ultimately, somehow, outside of our puny human minds, that God's glory will be shine through in that situation. Thank you very much, Rochelle.
Thank you, Rochelle. It's good to hear from you. It really has been a while. And interestingly, I did not listen to the message beforehand. So, of course, having that jingle ready to go must have been a spirit-led thing. All right. We also have something here from Nomen Prunte. He's back. Nomen Prunte's back. Here we go.
Nomen Prunte here. This is Conceived in Fire. St. Paul, also known as Saul of Tarsus, in ye little town of Ephesus? Have you believed and received the Spirit? Perhaps if we could hear it. St. John the Baptizer, God rest his soul, foretold the messianic goal. Then they were baptized in the good Lord's name, improving their speech and prophetic aim. Jesus of Nazareth in Galilee, not one to charge a fee, bearing witness to those who would hear it. His work complete, he sent the Spirit.
Amen. I like it. Short and concise.
Yeah.
Very
Thank
good.
you very much. Nomen
Nice.
Prunte, always bringing the heat.
Yep. Thank you, Nomen Prunte. I feel like I need to like, what, snap our fingers or something after that?
Yeah. That's what you do, I think.
Yeah. Thank you, Nomen Prunte. All right. One more message from Sir Ike.
Hey, Canary family. This is Sir Ike here. I am reaching out to let all you supply droppers know that your supply drops are in the mail and you should start seeing them arrive here in the next couple days. Also, I am missing the shipping addresses for a few people. So MVH Truth, John W. and Sam S. If you could, I've sent you emails, or if you could email me at canarycrysupplydrop@gmail.com. Shipping address, I want to be able to get that supply drop to you in the mail as soon as possible. Thanks.
There you go.
Much, Sir Ike. Good chat out there. I will also see if I have any addresses for those guys. Thank you, Sir Ike. Also a mention, because Sir Ike is doing a great job managing me in this case. I am a hard person to manage. But if you are on the Canary Cry T-shirt Council, listen up. The Canary Cry T-shirt Council survey will be going out, Lord willing and the creek don't rise, in a couple of hours after the show. So now is your time to vote on what is this, second quarter, the second Canary Cry T-shirt of 2026 will be. We've got some banger options there. You're going to love it. But it requires the attention of all of our T-shirt council members. This might be a little bit of a shorter survey period because we really need to get moving on this. It's my fault. So there you go. Heads up. Check your email. Take the survey. And if you're not on the Canary Cry T-shirt council and you want to get some extremely exclusive, very special shirts that you are responsible for deciding on, go to canarycryt-shirtcouncil.com.
Yep. Go do it. Okay. Are you talking about this bot thing for a minute or what? Is that just...
Let me see. No. I'm going to skip the bot thing.
All right. Okay. Here we go. So we're going to go straight back into some stuff here about, let's see, building back better.
Build back better, blah, blah, blah.
That's not the proper jingle. I've been looking for the proper build back better jingle, and I think it's actually labeled New World Order, but I don't know.
I think it is too. Yeah.
So, let me see here. I don't know if I have the right one here. I don't know if I can find it here.
We are unstoppable. Another world is possible. We are unstoppable.
A new world order.
When do we want it?
There it is. Build back.
That's not the one either.
That's the one I was thinking of. That's
no. There's another one with Greta in it that she talks about build back better. And it's like a whole jingle, but it's okay. We don't have to. There's also the Burning Man angle to this.
Disaster. Burning Man. Disaster.
Which is an incredible connection. Okay.
It is.
Go to Canary Cry. No, don't. It's not Canary Cry. Go to burningmanresearch.com. We are so grateful that the great and mighty Carl Teichrieb, if you don't know Carl Teichrieb, author, researcher, amazing guy, has written about culture and analysis and everything. It informs a lot of not even just what we think, but how we think about what's going on. He leads a trip out to Burning Man for with the Camp of the Unknown God to do demographics research, spiritual demographics, and of course, the findings out at Burning Man there is not just a bunch of stinky hippies in the desert, a petri dish, a globalist messaging platform, a testing pipeline for the technocracy, a lot of incredible stuff. If you are unaware of our work on Burning Man with Carl Teichrieb, go to burningmanresearch.com. And I say this now because Burning Man is in a couple months. It's coming up fast, and we always wait till the last minute. But thank God we're going to be actually, again, Lord willing, in the creek don't rise, going to be talking to Carl tomorrow, and we'll have some great, I guess, insight into the research and into the stuff that's going to come out of it this
There's
year.
a lot to catch up with Carl, so I'm looking forward
It's
to that.
a lot.
I found the jingle, Basil. I found it. It's right here.
Found it.
No, that's not the one.
That's not it.
And I
Okay.
got so excited for a second there. Man.
But this also is tying into AI. It's tying into technocracy. It's tying into data centers. It's tying.
Oh, here it is. I found it.
We will build Babylon. This time, a new world order.
There we go. I can go
got
to
there,
sleep tonight.
folks.
I can go
We
to sleep
got
and not be
there.
upset.
Beautiful. Well done.
Yep. All right. This is coming from AutoNotion.com. And, we used to do, before Daily Mail became sort of the breaking news of all fringe news, they used to have all these crazy long headlines because people knew, I guess they knew that people didn't read the articles. They just read the headlines.
Right.
Ever since they became a lot more popular on X anyway, it seems like they've curtailed on the long headlines. Their headlines are much smaller. It's not as long. They're still long, but not as long. But I think AutoNotion here is the next in line. They've taken the torch of Prometheus as the longest headline maybe of all time on the show.
AutoNotion, by the way, a car magazine.
Yes, very relevant to the conversation today. But of course, it's a car. Yeah, it's an auto website. The headline here. Okay, I'm going to try to do it in one breath. America just took 3 brand new nuclear reactors critical in 30 days, a first for any country. I just breathed. Machines the size of shipping containers, one of them built in 150 days on a single-digit million budget with a core its founder drove to Idaho in the back of a Ford F-150.
Wow.
It's
a lot going on there, but I love it. It's a car magazine, so they're talking about nuclear reactors and all sorts of things about it. But because it's a car magazine, they got to connect it by saying, and they drove the stuff in a Ford F-150.
Yes,
okay,
that's
good enough for me. I love a good Ford F-150.
They should have led with the Ford F-150 to really get the clicks, but maybe they don't want everybody reading this,
Ford F-150. American car, 4th of July, transporting the energy of
the future of energy. Yeah,
micro-nuclear reactors. It's all
we
there.
could probably work for this website to come up with better headlines that are,
Lord help me.
More all right, it says here, we're not going to read the whole thing. There's a few parts here worth mentioning. It starts like this. The AI power problem has become one of those things everyone in tech mentions in the same breath as grid queue, 7-year interconnect wait, and we'll figure it out. Do people talk like that? I don't know. Maybe in the auto industry.
Bizarre article.
It is a bizarre article.
Voice. They have a certain voice here.
Yeah. They're speaking to they're speaking to a certain crowd.
Hyperscalers.
Hyperscalers.
Lot of industry language here. Industry language.
Hyperscalers keep signing gigawatt deals with existing nuclear plants. Microsoft locked up 3 Mile Island's 835 MW under a 20-year power purchase agreement, and Amazon secured 1.29 gigawatts from Talen's Susquehanna plant. But those are old reactors being kept alive, were switched back on, not new ones being built. New nuclear was always going to take a decade. Until last month. Yeah.
They're talking about AI and all the big tech companies buying nuclear reactors to power AI data centers.
Yes.
That's what that was.
Until last month, when the U.S. quietly took 3 brand new reactors critical in 30 days, not gigawatt behemoths, but micro reactors the size of a shipping container, small enough that one founder drove the core of his machine to Idaho Falls in the back of a Ford F-150. That is Americana right there. The future of nuclear energy got transported on the back of a Ford F-150. This
Ford
is the future,
F-150 delivering the next generation of nuclear power.
And the data center industry is already
Ooh, like a rock. Sorry.
The data center. The data center industry is already trying to figure out how to buy them. People should pay us money for doing free ads like that. I mean, come on. We're just, anyway. We are the lifestyle brand, but also apparently we
value for value. In a perfect biblical value for value world, the Ford Motor Company would now go support the show. Say thank you for mentioning, singing a little song.
I've wanted to get a truck again. So
$85,000. Here's $85,000 value for value.
Hey, they could give me a truck, and I'll mention the Ford F-150 every episode.
I'd take a Ford F-150, a King Ranch. Hey, any King Ranch fans out there? The Ford F-150 King Ranch edition. That is as American as it gets.
It cost me $333 to fill up the tank every time out here in California, but that's okay. Right. The setup goes back to May 23rd. This is important. May 23rd, 2025, when Executive Order 14301 told the Department of Energy to stand up a reactor pilot program and get at least 3 advanced reactors to criticality by July 4th, 2026, the country's 250th birthday. And I believe we covered this story thanks to Sir Ike. Sir Ike's been kind of keeping us on track with all this stuff. Criticality is the milestone, the moment the core.
They breeze right by it, and I want to make sure that we have the background for this. So what they're saying, what they're talking about are mini nuclear reactors, modular nuclear reactors. It's all
SMRs.
All this. This has been a goal of, scientists for generations, for decades and decades and decades. We have the big ones. That's very cool. But, we all have this idea, we can make little tiny ones. It's basically a practical version of free energy. But scientists have been working on it. Nobody can do it in a practical way for years and years and years and years. May 23rd, 2025, Trump signs Executive Order 14301 to get at least 3 of them going by the 4th of July this year. So this stake in the ground that the Trump administration has, been wielding their magic around, I guess. It's not just about the 4th of July, the fireworks. It's not just about the World Cup. It's not just about this or that, but also the deadline to take us into the next age of atomic energy, which is these micro nuclear reactors, and just sort of quietly happened over the weekend. But of course, it's America, so had to include driving to Idaho with a Ford F-150 like a rock.
And yes, and the article goes on here. We don't have to dig into every aspect of this, but the takeaway here, and I'll get to the main sort of punchline and how this relates to Burning Man. But basically, they got 3 of them to criticality. It does say here, criticality is the milestone, the moment the core sustains its own controlled chain reaction. It's the difference between a nuclear machine and a very expensive metal sculpture. So the 3 that got there, there's a few different companies that you can look at that are, all sort of doing this. And it's interesting because the topic of small modular reactors popped up in a conversation about investments recently in my circles of people that would not be discussing these topics. They were looking at it from a pure investment perspective. So it's reached sort of the realm of early investor talk.
Yeah, it's like
some of these companies. Yeah, it's like crypto. Yeah, the earlier the better type of thing. There's already companies that are doing very well. NewScale, and I think they mentioned BWRX here. Yeah. So there's BWXT. Sorry, BWXT.
This is all tied in to the transition into technocracy, right?
Absolutely.
This is smart cities. All smart cities will have their own reactor, which is why Black Rock City, Burning Man is a good testing site for this. It's all connected to oil, the oil market, the geopolitical. Everything is connected to this micronuclear reactor topic.
Deborah HD.
Yeah. I was gonna wait till the right moment, but since you brought it up, as I was singing the song, I realized that the Like a Rock song is for the Chevy Silverado, and another American truck, by the way. Look,
Yeah.
okay,
Hey, you know,
I'm an
this
American.
proves-
I'm singing the Like a Rock song for America, not just for Ford. But
it
yes,
proves the branding didn't work as well as maybe they
it didn't take as good. Thank you, Deborah, in the chat. That occurred to me as well. Like a Rock was Chevy trucks, by the way.
Chevy overshot their branding. Instead of just Chevys, they just did all American trucks.
I'm applying yes. They tried to mobilize their ontology with Like a Rock, and I took that and I mobilized it to Ford. Take that. American trucks. Doesn't matter. It's all good.
Chevy marketing department in a panic. Okay. So we'll talk about
send me $85,000, Chevrolet. I sang your song.
Yeah. I'll take a Chevy truck too. These things are genuinely small. Great. That's fantastic. They're genuinely small. They talk about some technicalities about how small they are and how, of course, that they, again, as we mentioned, they don't need the huge things that they're used to. It's like the Simpsons, the nuclear facilities. These are mobile. You can chain them. You can use multiples of them, and so forth. Criticality is not the same as commercial. And of course, they talk about how it's they can get to criticality, but they can't necessarily use it commercially. They talk about Canada took the other bet, and this is where you get the Americana real thick right here. It's like, Canada, they're trying to do the same thing, but they took the approach of building larger sort of grid scale reactors, and also that their approach is less of, and this will matter to the Burning Man stuff, it's less of like the sort of grassroots looking thing. It's more of like this big corporate thing, and it's not going to really go online until 2030 because you got to build the infrastructure for it, yada yada yada. But America, we don't do it like the Canadians do. We're more rogue. We're more adventurous, and we're pioneers. We're much more I don't know. We're much more wild,
reckless.
Reckless. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you. We are much more reckless in our approach. Yes, in our hubris, and we are going to go ahead and just go ahead and build it because Trump told us to. And here's where it gets interesting. Where this actually goes. The next test isn't another criticality announcement. It's whether any of these companies can get an NRC commercial license, deliver a working reactor to a paying customer, and run it long enough to prove the economics, which is interesting because, of course, we've always talked about changes in infrastructure in the technocracy. What will really give it teeth, what will really give it that, it's actually happening, is the economics. Once the economics is working and the new blood is flowing, then we will know that it's really there.
The veins of mammon decide the
yes. Yes, they talk about a couple different companies here, and then they get to this part here. Radiant is expected next with Kaleidos, another shipping container reactor, and it intends to go further than zero power, full heat, and 1 megawatt of sustained output for 150 hours without operator intervention per Forbes. AALO, A-A-L-O, kind of like Halo, but AALO just flew all 200 of its employees to Idaho Falls for its own attempt, an event its CEO described as, quote, a nuclear Burning Man. Every one of these companies is talking to somebody in AI.
Of course.
Of course they are. But yes, this company, ALO, took all 200 of their employees, flew them out to Idaho Falls to take a look at this the small modular reactor thing. And he called it, the CEO described it as a nuclear Burning Man. Why would he say that, Basil? Why?
Relevant.
Would he say?
Thank you for asking. It's a very relevant question, Gons, because I will say, when I read this, I went looking. Oh, nuclear Burning Man. Okay, this company, ALO. And I went searching. What was this nuclear Burning Man event that they did? And I can find absolutely no information about it. So I don't know exactly what they did, but from my own research and context clues after many years of Burning Man research, I can kind of start to put the pieces together. It says ALO just flew all 200 of its employees to Idaho Falls for its own attempt, an event its CEO describes as a nuclear Burning Man. Now, Burning Man, of course, as everybody knows, and if you're not caught up on the Burning Man research, I apologize. Stick around. You will get caught up. But one of the ways of looking at Burning Man is as a petri dish, a testing ground for technocracy. And doing it in an invisible way. They are always testing new technology out there. It is often the first time that various either not so much surveillance, although surveillance is a part of it, but drone technology, imaging technology, all these things are first deployed at Burning Man in the form of art. And this is kind of the trick. They do it in a form of art out there to test. And for those who maybe aren't so familiar, Burning Man is the event, but what it is a temporary city. It's not a music festival. It's not it's a temporary city, a city that exists for like 10 days. And when they build this city, a lot of time and attention, both from esoteric sources, technocratic sources, ancient sources, news sources. We've all heard of Google C-suite teams, CEOs, etc. Silicon Valley comes out there. It's not a bunch of hippies. You start talking to people. You're like, oh, everybody out here is a engineer or a doctor or a this or a that. And so one of the things that cropped up, and in our history of presenting and working with Carl Teichrieb and his work, has taught us over the past 10 years is that, the weird little things that we find and see and learn at the Burning Man research trip at the Camp of the Unknown God inevitably, reliably, and literally give us insight into something that happens in the world, sometimes even just months or years later. There is no better way that we have gained insight into the beast system, global governance, anything, than the research going on out at Burning Man. And one of those things is Burning Man is the proto-smart city. It goes up. It's in the shape of a smart city. They test the ergonomics of it. Now, one of the things that's kind of not so, I guess, futuristic is that there's no power, of course. You have to bring your own batteries. You have to bring your own generators. There's bigger and bigger camps and bigger structures and things where gigantic generators out there. And there's some experimentation with bringing like a generator the size of a semi-truck and trying to power like a whole neighborhood at Burning Man with one generator. But one thing that has been a focus of some people out there since I've been working with Carl since 2018 is this idea of modular nuclear reactors. And like the AutoNotion article says, hey, they can build it, they can make it work, but there's this issue of commercialization. There's still this issue of crossing the Rubicon into a workable, usable thing. And Burning Man, theoretically, just from our own analysis, is the perfect place to test or try one of these things. But then also from our research and lectures we've attended, workshops we've attended out there, that is literally something that they want to build into Burning Man. It's sort of this weird underground esoteric aspect of organizing Burning Man is, hey, they have protesters at Burning Man every year going, you're burning too much oil with your generators. Burning Man is killing the earth, right? Is one of the sort of perspectives that you kind of miss if you're not familiar with kind of the research that we do and stuff. You might think Burning Man is just a bunch of hippies. No, the hippies hate Burning Man. The hippies protest Burning Man because it's a bunch of tech bros and doctors and scientists burning oil, burning gas, burning diesel to power this experimental city. And so these modular nuclear reactors has long been a topic discussed at Burning Man in the experimental smart city. So it's possible. And I don't know if it's going to be this year. I don't know if it's going to be next year, but I can feel that we are inching closer and closer. When the time comes, the modular nuclear reactor will be present at Burning Man. May not be powering the whole thing, but it'll be there. That is where they're going to test it. And that will be sort of the starting gun, right? The shot that starts the event of these modular reactors being deployed to power things like data centers. Of course, they're not gonna bring it to villages in Africa. They're not gonna let the suburbs. They're not gonna free Americans from the tyrants energy companies that we have to pay all the time. Now it's going to go to data centers to fuel the AI, and they have already said themselves that they want to build the data center that houses the AI and then give the AI control of its own modular nuclear reactor so it can control its own power source. And they are gleefully excited about giving away the responsibility of keeping the nuclear reactor going, more or less gleefully giving the on or off button of Skynet, taking it out of the hands of humans and placing it into the hands of the AI. But it's the connection there is very interesting that they're starting to draw that. I'm going to keep digging a little bit to see exactly if there's any more information. It is suspicious. I will say this. It is suspicious that when I go searching for any material, any blogs, any articles, anything, social media posts about ALO, the nuclear modular reactor company, and their little test run, Nuclear Burning Man, that they put on, it is absolutely suspicious that I cannot find any information on this, but it'll certainly be something we pursue during our research later on in late August, early September.
It speaks to why we, the Americans, have been going around to different countries and taking over different mines for different things. We're told it's about oil. That's one level. We've constantly said that it's more about resources. And I think the SMRs have a big part in this, is that they will be the new infrastructure for energy. Right. And it's probably at least another decade before we're saying the heck with Edison and G&E and all these current sort of energy setups and stuff like that. And then everyone gets an SMR, or the neighbor friend gets an SMR, and we're all leeching power off of it.
Obsolescence aspect to it, right?
It's gonna come. It's coming.
I
it'll
think
happen.
The 14 months of Trump's executive order, this thing that they had been trying to build for generations and never got to work, and then Trump says, "Okay, do it in 14 months," and suddenly they do it 3 times, and it's all working. Right? Shows that there's been a sort of planned obsolescence, a sort of holding back, a sort of free energy, conspiracy kind of thing going. All that was needed was a president to just say, "Okay, we can do this now," and of course the justification of AI. But you can see quite plainly that the powers that be, the financial infrastructures, have been holding back the technology to make people's lives better for a very
think about this. Yeah, think about this too. The website for ALO, by the way, one of the coolest websites. You start scrolling,
it's an incredible website. It's very,
oh my gosh, it's like the things. Yeah, the picture dissolves into a million pieces, and it turns into a little atom that's moving around, and then it's just incredible. But there's a page on here called I think this is the technology page, and you see what at first I was like, what is this? But it's an overhead view of like it's kind of like just a CGI bare bones of a data center and an AI data center. And as you scroll, it pans to the side, and then you can see below the building, you can see these modular reactors powering these data centers. And this would, if I'm not mistaken, this would kind of solve the whole, hey, we're building out huge AI data centers, we're taking over all this land. Not solve necessarily, but it's kind of like the solution to the problem. We're at the reaction stage. The problem is present.
Power away from the people. This came up in Clubhouse as well, because Canarians all over the place are seeing that data centers are going up in their area.
Yeah.
And what I shared, because I came across some stories, is that actually in America, there has been a ton of success for locals in their area. Remember, we've been talking with Patrick Holland about local politics. Like, this is America. Anybody can stand up and get something done in their local area. It's much more important to be locally politically involved than like federally. Like, nobody's.
It's almost impossible to get anything done at the federal
level. Who
but
cares about the presidential election? That barely even matters. But because it's America, on the very local level, you can actually make change. And there's a ton of success stories of people just like you and me, folks, stepping up saying, actually, no, you cannot build a data center here. Now, a lot of the success in that comes from the fact that these data centers need lots of power, needs lots of electricity. And Trump even addressed this. And, he even made a rule or an executive order saying, hey, data centers, when they go in, they cannot under any circumstances raise electricity prices for people, although that didn't actually change anything. But this is the atmosphere in which, this is the soil in which these nuclear modular reactors, the justification for their existence. Because now, if a data center doesn't need to hook into the grid and it can have its own modular reactor, locals in the area, wherever you are in America, they are disarming one of the most effective ways that you can stop it. The best way that you as a person can stop the data center in your area, and it's happened successfully dozens of times, is to make the case that the electricity infrastructure isn't there, the power grid, it's going to be, you're going to be charging regular people are paying for the data center with their electricity bills because the price goes up, this whole thing. There's been some success now, but once these nuclear reactors, these modular nuclear reactors go live, then that takes away that avenue to stop the data centers, and the AI beast system comes in, and there's nothing we can do about it.
Right. So you're saying this is sort of like the Trojan horse in a sense?
A little bit of a Trojan horse. A little bit of a Trojan horse, and like I said, the use of these things at something like a Burning Man is kind of the tell, right? Over the years, we've pointed out these technologies will be presented at Burning Man as like, ooh, look, utopian future. Humans are cool, man. We don't have to do war. We can make a beautiful smart city or whatever. There's all sorts of stuff attached to it. But when we see that policy, that technology, that ideology, whatever it is, get tested at Burning Man and then deployed in the world, it is always to serve the globalized one world government, new world order kind of vibe, that force.
It's really interesting because there is a sort of a self, what's the word I'm looking for here? Like not a self-inflicting, but a self, what is it called when it perpetuating kind of loop? According to the website here, ALO powers AI, AI accelerates ALO. So nuclear power, in a sense, now that we have AI as kind of a commercial product, nuclear will power AI in the future, right? AI kind of needs nuclear energy because it needs
Nuclear
so much
will
energy.
power AI, and AI will
help.
nuclear.
It will
That's
empower nuclear by
handing
creating
over
it
the control to the data center thing.
more efficiency, yeah. So this is interesting. This is its own feedback loop that's taking place here, and it is truly, you think about like you said, sort of the smart cities, or if you recall the movie, what movie was it? It's my brain is not working right now. It is not computing. Bleep, blop, blop. What's the movie that everybody talked about back in 2010? And it had 3 segments. It had the part about the money system and how it's corrupt, but then it also talked about how Jesus wasn't really God. Zeitgeist. Thank you. Thank you. Zeitgeist 3, it was called Moving Forward. They talked about the smart cities in a way. You watched that film and it was all about the smart city, the technocracy. And they even conceptualized the center of the city, which is powered by this sort of nuclear energy AI system. It's like a robotics factory that will, they'll make your food, make your clothes, make all the necessities, and then it will slowly disperse into the outer rings where the people live. And so they're all kind of dependent on this central building of tech miracleism in the middle.
You can see how Zeitgeist, which was the movie that woke a lot of people up in that era, it was post 9/11. A lot of conspiracy theorists became conspiracy theorists because of Zeitgeist.
Yeah.
But it was from this
Peter Joseph,
if you will, of no, smart cities are good. If we can shake off the shackles of the New World Order, then we can make these smart cities with technology and surveil everything and control everything. And the world will be beautiful if we could just have a one world government. Smart city.
Well, it was called Project Earth. I remember now. It's Project Earth. It was technology, automation, and system designs, scientific planning. The technocracy really can reorganize society and heal humanity, because it went through the first part of the film was all about how human trauma causes all of our problems from childbirth and on. And so
if we can
eliminate human trauma, we will live in a free society where we treat each other good and we can run around and do art, that kind of thing. So interesting how those films.
Also the Elon Musk universal high basic income thing.
Right.
Whole future with the robots and the Optimus and the AI and everything. We're like in the midst of it right now.
We're in the midst of building it.
Weird little, conspiracy theorist Zeitgeist movie making people, understand that 9/11 was an inside job or something.
And by the way, just breaking news here, SpaceX and XAI have merged. They are now SpaceXAI.
Wow.
Did you see that one come in? Just a juke.
He loves doing that. There's something interesting to Elon's way of, starting all these companies and then merging them all into one big mega corporation, which is very dystopian. But it kind of goes against, again, it's this new world order thing, because a problem that we have been dealing with for a very long time, and is one of the things that we have to figure out how to navigate, is the non-affiliated corporate structure, where you can have 10 companies that you come in contact with every day. They supply all your needs, and you don't even know that they're all owned by the same corporation, right? It's sort of the power was in the camouflage of corporate structure. But Elon comes out, he's just like, I'm making one giant technocratic company, and it'll rule everything. I can solve all your problems with one big company. We're going to Mars, and here's a robot.
Here it is. It's they have a video on it. At SpaceXAI. We are now at SpaceXAI.
It's all coming together.
SpaceXAI.
What's that? That's 3 now. 3 companies have merged into one. So X, Grok, and SpaceX. Rocket launches, social media, and Grok are all together. It's perfect.
What could go wrong?
Well, and he's doing that specifically, of course, because we know now that he bought Twitter. He's the marketing was that he bought Twitter to save free speech. But
Of course.
what he really did was buy Twitter because he saw it as a resource to train AI before any of us knew what was going on with AI and training it and stuff. So he bought Twitter as a unique, abundant resource for training AI, merged those, and now the merger with SpaceX is literally because he wants to build data centers for his AI in space. And Starlink, the whole Starlink launch a constellation, they call them constellation of satellites, but they're not internet providers, they are data centers because you don't need to take you don't need a nuclear modular reactor, and you won't mess up the ecosystem with your data center if it's just floating around in space.
Do you think ALO will merge or get bought out and become ALO X?
They always
I'm looking at the ALO website built with the institutions that built nuclear, and they got all the big companies, including the U.S. Department of Energy.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, if they put on a nuclear Burning Man, they're in it. They are it. They are in the zone.
They're the ones. Not financial advice, by the way, but maybe maybe a decent thing.
This led me down a little rabbit hole, and I don't want to go too deep, but it did lead me to an interesting article from last year.
I cannot open this link because every time I open it, it just opens the master doc back opening. It's like a perpetual loop.
Something messed up. No, it's gone. So that's okay. That's God is guiding us around this. We're not going to cover the article because something is super messed up. But it was just a fun breakdown of Trump and his executive order we mentioned with, hey, now's the time, build the nuclear reactors. At the same time, he also said, hey, you can keep testing nuclear bombs in Nevada.
Oh, really? Okay.
And Nevada, of course, is where Burning Man takes place. And it was this whole article about will Burning Man survive the nuclear fallout from Trump's nuclear testing? Oh my God. And the nuclear testing sites in Nevada, which are very famous, is 300 miles away. And there's large cities in between. There's Reno, there's Carson City, there's huge populations.
All leveled. Trump's going to level it all.
Yeah, in between the nuclear testing sites and Burning Man, but they just ignore that, and they're like, "Oh no, Burning Man is gonna be nuclear." And I will tell you, as someone who has gone and worked at Burning Man, it is already a nuclear apocalypse. That is the whole point.
It's already a post-nuclear.
It's the whole point
explosion.
of the thing. Yes,
Yeah,
there doesn't
it's cosplay for post-nuclear. Yeah,
exactly. It's a simulation of the nuclear apocalypse.
I get it. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Well, there is this one last story, real quick here. I think it's worth mentioning. It is a transhuman story here. Let's see.
My generation is hopefully, with the advances in science, the first generation to live forever, or the last generation that's going to die.
Our friend who's seeking eternal life apart from Jesus Christ is in a bit of a quandary here. The Economic Times.
That's a tough thing. This is a theme in my life. I grow up, my friends, they ask me questions, I give them advice. They never take my advice, and their life goes spiraling out of control. And I think, man, if they just would have taken my advice. Well, our dear friend Bryan Johnson, seeking eternal life, my man, it is in Jesus Christ. Come to Jesus Christ.
I
Eternal
know.
life
We've
is yours.
been trying to tell him for a few years
Yet
now.
he just keeps endeavoring to figure it out for himself. Transhumanism is an incurable disease, Gons. That's a real incurable disease since the Tower of Babel is transhumanism.
Yeah. Bryan Johnson's health bombshell. Millionaire who spends $2 million a year to live forever now has an incurable disease.
Which is very sad.
It is sad, but it also could be a setup for something else. Anti-Asian millionaire Bryan Johnson, the tech entrepreneur famous for spending nearly $2 million a year to reverse aging, has revealed a devastating health battle that even his obsessive wellness routine couldn't prevent. The 48-year-old disclosed that he has been diagnosed with autoimmune gastritis, a rare condition in which the body's immune system attacks the stomach lining. In a candid post,
autoimmune gastritis, they
Yeah.
put parenthetical here, AIG.
Yeah, artificial.
AIG is the name of an insurance company. It's kind of a funny,
the AGI is artificial general intelligence. I thought maybe it was, an AI.
AIG. This is the insurance companies are an autoimmune disorder that are destroying.
It's not wrong. In a candid post on X, Johnson stunned followers by writing, quote, "I have an autoimmune disease. My stomach is eating itself." He warned that the illness often develops silently, affecting an estimated 2 to 5% of people, and can lead to iron deficiency, anemia, and even an increased risk of stomach cancer if left undetected. A mystery illness hidden for years, Johnson revealed that the disease had likely been progressing unnoticed for years, although he was diagnosed with hypothyroidism at the age of 21 and managed it with hormone replacement therapy, another hidden autoimmune disorder, was quietly damaging his stomach. And he's got the whole post here. For more than a decade, doctors repeatedly dismissed his persistently low ferritin levels because his hemoglobin remained normal, despite trying different iron supplements, dietary changes, and other interventions, like sucking his son's blood. His body's iron stores never recovered. A test that exposed the real culprit. The breakthrough came after Johnson overhauled his medical team. Oh, wow. He fired them all, which ordered a bidirectional endoscopy.
This gave me pause. Okay, first of all,
bidirectional.
Imagine being the doctor or the scientist who you are being personally paid by a billionaire to make him live forever.
Multimillionaire.
Yeah, right. Multi-million.
We always say billionaire, but he's
I know. He's just in that class.
Yeah.
And you just get fired. You're just like gone. You did a bad job. He had a disease. You didn't see it. You're gone. Bad doctor. You're busted. But bidirectional endoscopy? Bi meaning two, directional endoscopy.
The front and the back, apparently.
They win in both sides at the same time.
My science teacher in high school did tell me we're just a tube inside a tube. So, I mean, technically they're
a torus. Human is a tourist, right? We're a donut, technically. That's a lot.
Tough, man.
You've done a lot of things. I mean, Bryan Johnson is a lot, just in general, just kind of like archetypally, he's a lot. And bidirectional endoscopy, also a lot.
Great. Medicine says it can't be cured. Johnson said the diagnosis was particularly difficult because conventional medicine considers autoimmune gastritis an incurable disease that can only be managed rather than reversed. After receiving 1,000 milligram monoferric iron infusion, his iron deficiency has been corrected, but he now faces lifelong monitoring for vitamin deficiencies and stomach cancer risk. I mean, he was already being monitored, so I guess it's not like
that's the message. The message is kind of interesting here, and I kind of had to sit with it myself because immediately, like my desire for narrative, or maybe not my desire, but like the programming, I guess, that immediately came up is like, oh, the guy who wants to live forever has an incurable disease. What did he do? Like something he did caused this incurable disease. That a sort of a Faustian kind of vibe, but I don't think that's what happened. I don't think that's what it is. He just sort of happens to also have this disease, or maybe it did. I don't know. This kind of left out of the story.
It says here billionaire's mission, but again, he's not a billionaire. He's a multi-hundred million. I know, but he's
a billionaire.
He sold his.
Maybe you're the problem, Gons. Maybe I'm not.
Look it up. Look it up. He had Braintree, that company Braintree. He sold it for like 400 million or something.
I mean, maybe agree to call him a billionaire so we don't have to have this discussion every time. Can we just, for ease of conversation, refer to him as a billionaire?
I like to be accurate around here, especially if he's spending $2 million a year for his health. You know,
what's funny is like a billionaire would care. Like you're acting like a billionaire who would be like, no, don't call yourself a billionaire. You only have 3 commas in your bank account. Once you get 4, come back and then you'll be in the billionaire club. Okay. You're just 100 millionaire.
Yeah. Well, if I break up the penny, maybe I am a billion.
Your treasure is stored in heaven, Guns. And that's what
I know. Okay. Instead of accepting diagnosis, Johnson says he's assembling researchers to search for a cure. His team plans to monitor disease markers close while exploring experimental therapies ranging from immune modulating drugs to advanced T-cell treatments and AI design therapies. And this is the other part of it. Maybe there is an aspect of this where in some ways, this is just the next chapter. This is like the next phase of the challenge where, you know, of course, living forever, longevity and all this stuff was part of his plan. But, you know, when you run into something like this, you can, it could be because the live forever mission didn't really resonate with everybody, right? Like people can't relate to the multi-hundred millionaire trying to live forever.
It's a psycho cyborg billionaire like weirdo thing,
right? But if you have something like this where it's like an everyday and you know any man can get it type of thing, then your contributions become much more relatable and something to root for in a sense in the context of science and advancing technologies. So maybe that's the play where it's like, hey, you know, we need to do something because Bryan's image is very good right now. People are not stoked about Bryan's mission.
Yeah, so. To look at it culturally, right? We're not just picking on him for
we're
reason,
not.
But like culturally, he is this image, this symbol of transhumanism. We have the power. He's said it himself. Like, I have the power to transcend my humanness to live forever. It's Tower of Babel. It's everything. And you know, in the same way, we have Peter Thiel talking about the Antichrist, doing that thing.
Yeah.
So he's in that kind of echelon of cultural symbol. But it doesn't work when you're just a weird billionaire pumping your son's blood into your body so you live forever. It just doesn't work very well. Right. But much like in our exploration of technocracy, with every new technology, Elon and Neuralink, brain-computer interface, the beast, mark of the beast, you know, this kind of stuff. It has to always take this step from necessity. Necessity. We must do this to heal something. We must do this. That's the transition. Necessity is the transition into the next phase of whatever.
Right.
Not to go down a rabbit hole. Interesting weekend. I did see the Angel Studios movie Young Washington.
Okay.
If anybody's interested, Young Washington. It's the story of George Washington in his youth, the story before he became the president. Not a great movie, but as an analyst, I'm glad the movie exists. And one interesting thing is July 3rd, actually, something I didn't know, a little George Washington history for everyone, if the movie is to be believed. George Washington lost his first battle, got really whooped by the French on July 3rd, before 1776. And so when he becomes president after 4th of July, he's sitting there, 1776. He's going to become the president. And it's July 3rd. And he's like, man, I really got my butt whooped a while back. That was a very sad time. I have to remember this time every year, July 3rd. Oh, that's really embarrassing. And then July 4th, oh, I'm the president, America. Oh, this is great. We can forget about that July 3rd thing. Nobody think about that thing that I lost on July 3rd. But what he lost on July 3rd was called Fort Necessity. He had built a fort.
Yeah. I think I learned about this in elementary school.
Yeah, it's very interesting. A lot of really good history there. But I thought that that kind of rang with me, like Fort Necessity. Okay. And so here, when we're reading this in the context of transhumanism, beast system, the sort of flow of human historical achievement or whatever, that to bring it, we know that they want Neuralink not just for paraplegics and stuff, but they say it is necessary. We have a necessity to make a brain computer interface that we can install in everybody's heads, a microchip we can put into your ear, because we want to heal our friends. We want people to walk. We want people to see. It's necessary that we do this. And anything that comes after that is just a bonus. So the beast system comes as sort of like a bonus to these necessities that the transhumanists claim we need to solve, right?
Battle for Fort Necessity, July 3rd, 1754. So 22 years before the
Here's just young whippersnapper.
Yeah.
Young
Just
whippersnapper.
one last thing for this story about Bryan Johnson. I did mention that on X, there's a few things here to point out. One, eternal life is not something we can achieve on our own volition. No amount of money or science can get anybody there. If there's any proof of that, I mean, it's just Bryan Johnson's whole situation here. But the desire for life extension suggests a deep-rooted desire in the human condition to reattain what was once lost. Because even conceptually, we talk about ontology here.
Yeah.
Ontologically speaking,
Thanks,
there's
Alex
this
Stark with Palantir.
Yeah, there's this innate desire of, especially our wealthiest people who have nothing else to do. Forget all the people that need help around the world. They have this innate desire to reverse the fallen state.
Yeah.
What is that? What is up with that? What's going on there? Like, why, if you're the wealthiest and you're not really, you can do whatever you want, why not help your fellow man? Why is the pursuit for eternal life? It's just very strange, right?
Right.
And it's biblical, I think. Of course, it's biblical. It's the knowledge of good and evil. It's the conditions of the fall. But what's interesting is that everybody in this echelon, as you stated, is concerned with first death, which biblically it's the physical separation of the soul and the body. When the body dies, your soul kind of lives on in this. Biblically, in the Old Testament, they talk about it in like a sleep state. I don't know if it's actually a sleep state or like unconscious, but that's kind of how it's the long sleep, right? It's discussed in that way. But they don't talk about second death enough, which is the spiritual separation of the soul from God. So there's like these two levels, first death and second death, if you study the Bible and you kind of dig into that topic. And of course, they're trying to solve first death. Meanwhile, they're kind of taking for granted second death, which is much more of a problem here. But then also, we've always talked about, you and I on this show and our colleagues and stuff, we've talked about Revelation 9, which suggests that there will come a time when people will long to die because they're being tortured by these creatures that come out of the abyss, but death will flee from them.
Uploaded their consciousness into a computer.
Something, because maybe they're trapped in this life extension technology and they're being tortured and they're like, okay, Arya, we just want to die, but they can't because they're trapped in this weird state. So,
which is the sort of primary, to use a term, sort of Faustian bargain of eschatology, of the end of the world, of the beast system, which is this decision to be made to suffer the first death to avoid the second death, or to avoid the first death. Sorry, suffer the first death to
prevent the second death, whereas they're
you.
trying to prevent the first death, by doing so they might inflict the second death, which is much more consequential.
That's interesting. That's a really, I've never heard it that way. And of course, you could only get to that conclusion by talking it out live publicly, where everybody can argue with you. But it's a very
Are
interesting.
people arguing in the chat? Or they're
No,
like, okay, I thought people were going.
But it's an interesting distillation. Like, if you're going to have to distill the eschatology of the book of Revelation down to its like tiniest form, to its essential oil form, it really is the decision you are confronted with at the end of time is the first death and the second death. How do you manage that? Are you trading one for the other? Or it kind of all boils down to that.
So as a part of this setup for Bryan Johnson, of course, we want Bryan to find Jesus and get that eternal life. And we are promised new bodies. So
I think you will.
You think he will?
I have a feeling. I have an inkling, and I claim no knowledge from God or any supernatural source, but I have a hunch. I think Bryan Johnson is going to very publicly find Jesus.
Wow, that would be incredible. And hey, Bryan Johnson, hop on our show first if you're gonna if that happens.
I'm putting my stake in the ground here. I think that's going to happen.
I hope so too. What is going to be tempting for Bryan Johnson are stories like this coming out of Splinter Cell, or actually this is futurism.com. Scientists build fully synthetic life form that can eat and reproduce. The subheadline here, we're hoping we're really starting a true age of bioeconomy, enabling technology that will let people engineer biology. And if there wasn't a type of platform or like something that they would want to hand to Bryan Johnson to solve his ails, this is it right here. This is the true synthetic life form. Let's engineer biology. Let's build whatever we need to make sure that Bryan Johnson can get rid of this situation here.
As in the days of Noah.
As in the days of Noah. Yep. So
yeah. I will not change, but I will amend. Let me add
changing. You're already coming off come on, man. You got to be the one with the hope here, because I do.
Supernatural.
You got to be optimistic.
That's the brand, supernatural optimism. But I'm adding an amendment onto the Bryan Johnson thing. My hope is that he will find legit salvation through Jesus Christ. That's my optimism.
Okay.
However, there is also a chance that there may be a public display of finding Jesus in a similar way to Peter Thiel. And if that's the case, then we will have lots of things to talk about Bryan Johnson on this show. Either way, we're going to have a lot to talk about on the show.
If synthetic biology cures of his ailments and he publicly declares and thanks Jesus for the science of synthetic biology, that is a whole different conversation.
Exactly. That's exactly the thing. I am explicitly and enthusiastically a Christian now, and thank God that I am a transhuman and I am able to control creation through bioeconomy.
He promised us new bodies, and here we are. Look at that. Look at us.
God for my nanobots. Like that's gonna be the vibe. Like, you think about Left Behind and stuff, like these images we've been given the past 20 years growing up for me as a kid, a Christian kid in church, and you're like are given presentations of the end times like Left Behind, and it's very scary and it's very blah blah blah. It's not actually very aligned with what we read necessarily in the Bible. It's a good narrative and it was helpful at the time, not trying to put down Left Behind, but it really is the case that there will be this optimism when it comes to Antichrist and beast system and stuff like that. And that's what makes it difficult. And that's what, if it were possible, that's why some of the elect could be deceived, is because it will be, thank you, Jesus, for my nanobots that I can transcend my biological nature and make myself a little g God, right? That's the whole thing. That's the trick of it. I think we've seen that happen in stages over the history of this show, and I think that's now become quite clear.
All right, well, USA Belgium is up in a few minutes, Basil, so it's time to go to SPORTSBALL so we can see the magic trick unfold.
That's right.
On U.S. soil. We will see Trump's magical workings, his soft power on display. We'll see what's his name on the field, and we'll see if U.S. can advance here. Round of 16, World Cup coming up.
I think in Magic they call that the prestige. I think we'll see the prestige of Trump's magic trick here. And thank you everybody for sitting tight with us today. 3 hours, 15 minutes. That's a good show. Nice. That's a nice full show. Look at us go. Thank you to all of our producers. Remember, we cannot keep doing this without you. It does not exist. There is not a penny of corporate support keeps this thing alive. It is all individual human beings, just like you, giving of their time, their talent, or their treasure to keep the show alive. Go to canarycry.support to learn more. Support the show. Thank you very much. I'm going to give a short little shout out to a producer who came in during the show, but I'm going to add them on. I want to give them their credit next episode too. But shout out to Tiffany. Tiffany, who supported the show.
Thank you, Tiffany.
77. We'll put you on next show as well.
Okay.
But big old shout out to all of our producers, not just the financial producers. We've got people who come in with their time, and I want to thank them now, starting with, yes, of course, the beloved timestampers.
Timestamp, it's hard work. Timestamp.
I'm looking it up right now. It is Jade Bouncerson, of course.
Jade Bouncerson, getting timestamps live during the show most of the time. It is time, Gons, that we activate and we start inputting these things into Apple Podcasts, I believe. It has officially become a standard now on Apple Podcasts, chapter designations, which is exactly what Jade Bouncerson has been doing for us. And that is our next step into the future. Thank you, Jade Bouncerson. Thank you to the tech team. Shout out to the tech team. Love you guys. Thank you. Shout out to Jam for heading up the Telegram channel. Adam42 for heading up the Discord channel. These are communities of which you should join if you are not part of the community. You got to connect with other Canarians around the world. I'm telling you, it's a very special thing when a Canarian finds another Canarian and there's an understanding that you don't get anywhere else, not in your church, not in your family, not in nothing. Great way to at least begin to attempt to do that is by going to the Discord or the Telegram or canarycry.support, which is our off-platform social media gathering place. You can find links to all of that at canarycry.party. Thank you.
Did you mean canarycry.community?
What did I say?
Canarycry.support. I mean, which is fine. You can go to
canarycry.support. Yeah, go there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want community? Go to support the show. No, sorry. The canarycry.community. Joe, thank you for the feedback. Sir Clank, thank you for everything you do for us. Sir Ike, God bless you. Thank you. And other than that, share the show. You, dear listener, right now, share it, share, press the button, share it. I don't care how you do it, just do it. We call it rattling cages. All you got to do is walk right up to him, grab him by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages.
Hey, stop that!
You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy.
Leave the bird alone!
Never! Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
Have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right, just ask Noah. And if you are perceiving me right now, if you watch the show in one of our vertical, formatted things?
Yeah, format. Yeah, vertical format.
We're gonna see. I don't know. Maybe the algorithm likes a couple vertical formatted things. I don't know. If you like it, let us know. If you don't like it, we have no idea what's going on. Gons, you got any last words?
Make sure to tell the truth tomorrow. It is Tell the Truth Day.
Ooh.
And it's also, tomorrow will be Raytheon Corporation was founded in 1922. So both of those things happening tomorrow. That's 7/7 tomorrow, also 7/7. And then we'll be back on Wednesday. Roswell Day.
Gons knows all these very important dates because of the Canary Cry calendar.
Aha,
Have
yes.
a Canary Cry calendar. Go to canarycrysupplydrop.com. The calendar will be sent out in December. Go support the show. We will die if you don't. Thank you very much. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
Ooh, that's ugly.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
Armageddon's on the way.
For God alone, my soul waits in silence. From him comes my salvation. He alone is my rock and my salvation. He is my fortress, and I shall not be shaken. How long will all of you attack a man, batter him like a leaning wall? They only plan to thrust him down from his high position. They take pleasure in falsehood. They bless with their mouths, but in their heart they curse. For God alone, O my soul, wait in silence. All hope is from him. He alone is my rock and my salvation. He is my fortress, and I shall not be shaken. Trust in him at all times. Pour out your heart before him. God is a refuge for all of us. Those of low estate are but a breath. Those of high estate are a delusion. If they are weighed on the scales, they are altogether lighter than a vapor. Put no trust in extortion. Set no vain hopes on robbery. If riches increase, set not your heart on them. For God alone, O my soul, wait in silence. All hope is from him. He alone is my rock and my salvation. He is my fortress, and I shall not be shaken. God has spoken once, but I hear this in repetition, that power belongs to God, and to you, Lord, belongs steadfast love. For you will repay men according to their works. For God alone, O my soul, wait in silence. All hope is from him. He alone is my rock and my salvation. He is my fortress, and I shall not be shaken.
Straight to jail, straight to jail.
I think I was psyoped.
Take it. And no man deceive you. Many shall come in my name. Said I am Christ. And shall deceive any. Ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Nation shall rise against nation, the kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. Shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet.
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.